Chapter 1061. Did he keep going deeper? Qian Qiangwei asked. She really didn't want anything to happen to Night Sorrow. That's a scammer. I thought that the path he took should be safe. In the end, he was injured by a monarch-tier demonic beast and ran away. Then, I returned to the original path and followed his tracks. Then, I was chased by a monarch-tier demonic beast again. What a nuisance. Long Jin cursed. The other monarchs shook their heads. Long Jin's idea was right, but the path suitable for Night Sorrow might not be suitable for him, so he was tricked. There's only half a month left. Why isn't he back yet? Qian Yu's heart was full of worry. That's enough. You're still worried about him? He crossed the territory of a king-level beast twice without any problems. He won't die, Long Jin said. He was still angry that he had been tricked twice. If he didn't have the ability to protect his life, he would have been tricked to death by Night Sorrow. Then, someone else came out, but there was no sign of Night Sorrow. At this moment, Yi Shan was frantically running for his life. This was because when he was rushing, a monarch-level demon beast suddenly appeared. It was a wandering monarch-level demon beast, so it didn't have a fixed territory. Night Sorrow had seen this beast before. It was the green-scaled king whose cultivation level he could not see when he was digging the mine. Unfortunately, he met an old rival, a king whose cultivation level could not be seen. All Night Sorrow could do was run. Night Sorrow ran into the spatial turbulence while the green-scaled king chased after him. This king will definitely kill you. This time, your poisonous smoke will not be effective, the green-scaled king shouted as it chased. Night Sorrow knew that the 7 deadly poisonous smoke would not be effective if the green-scaled king was prepared. Fortunately, Night Sorrow's speed was not affected in the spatial turbulence, but the green-scaled king was affected. After all, it did not have the spatial attribute. With the help of the environment, Night Sorrow and the green-scaled king's speed were equal. Night Sorrow would consume both the origin elixir and life elixir at the same time. This way, he would be able to maintain his peak condition. The green-scale king's cultivation was high, and his energy recovery was higher than the consumption in the space turbulence, which meant that he was always in peak condition. The chase continued in the chaotic space. The speed of the green-scaled king was the same as Night Sorrow's in the chaotic space. Therefore, Night Sorrow was not worried. He could replenish his energy. If this continued, even if they reached the spatial barrier, the green-scaled king would not be able to kill him. As for chasing into that small space world, if the green-scaled king dared to enter, he would be in trouble. There were many kings in that small space world. If the green-scaled king dared to enter, he would die. Normally, if one's cultivation was higher than the king's, one would not be able to enter other worlds without using the teleportation circle. This was because the rules of the space world did not allow it. However, the small space world near the boundless soul world was a barren world. In other words, it was broken and had no rules. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 days had passed. Night Sorrow was very close to the spatial barrier. He could return to the small world by tearing the spatial barrier. In addition, he did not have much time. The 9 regions world's origin told Night Sorrow that he only had 2 days. After making the decision, Night Sorrow threw the 3 bottles of 7 deadly poisonous smoke behind him and used his energy to explode them. Then, he tore the space and arrived at the boundless world. Then, he used his bloodline talent to protect himself and flew quickly. Although the 7 deadly poisonous smoke could not hurt the green-scaled king when he was on guard, it could stop him. Time and distance were what Night Sorrow needed the most. Seeing the blue poisonous smoke blocking his path and the unstable spatial barrier, the green-scaled king was stunned. He could not leave through the spatial barrier area that Night Sorrow came out of. He could only stop and attack the spatial barrier twice. Then, he tore the spatial barrier and arrived at the boundless world to continue chasing Night Sorrow. However, at this time, Night Sorrow had already flown a distance away. The spatial barrier of the boundless soul world was not far away. Night Sorrow knew that his safety was in front of him. According to the distance and time calculation, Night Sorrow would definitely tear the spatial barrier and enter the small space world before the green-scaled king caught up. This king will kill you even if you have to go to the ends of the earth. The green-scaled king was very annoyed. To him, Night Sorrow was an ant. However, this ant could jump and he could not stop it. There was still a distance from the spatial barrier. Night Sorrow's spatial crack slashed out. After cutting open the spatial barrier, he entered without slowing down. Without waiting for the spatial barrier that Night Sorrow flattened to stabilize, the green-scaled king slashed open the spatial barrier and entered the spatial turbulence to continue the chase. Break. Night Sorrow used the spatial crack again and cut open the spatial barrier of the small space world. Then, he entered the small space world. After entering the spatial world, Night Sorrow's body drew an arc and landed beside the mysterious Heaven Lord. At this time, the spatial barrier was broken and the green-scaled king also rushed into the small space world. After entering the small space world, the green-scaled king was dumbfounded. This was because a row of people stood in front of him and he could not see their cultivation clearly. Lords, this is a misunderstanding. I will leave immediately. The green-scaled king stammered. However, the spatial crack had already been flattened by the mysterious Heaven Lord. What's the situation with Night Sorrow? The mysterious Heaven Lord asked. This fella has been chasing me for half a month. Fortunately, I ran quickly. Otherwise, I would have been killed by him. Night Sorrow said. I didn't know he was your man. I am very sorry. I will leave now. The green-scaled king's forehead was covered in sweat and his body kept bowing. After chasing you for half a month, you can go and die. The mysterious Heaven Lord waved his arm and a black-purple crescent moon slash was sent out, killing the green-scaled king. Brothers, we will meet again if we have the chance. The mysterious Heaven Lord waved his sleeves and left with the people from the mysterious Heaven world. At this time, he did not ask Night Sorrow anything. With so many sovereigns around, the soul cultivation liquid was a fat piece of meat. How could he ask a pack of wolves? How would Night Sorrow reply? After leaving the small spatial world, the group returned to the mysterious Heaven world after a few teleportations. After reaching the mysterious Heaven world, the mysterious Heaven Lord released the people from the mysterious celestial realm and looked at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded slightly. You can all go back. Go to the mysterious Heaven Palace later to find the Royal Lord and receive the rewards you deserve. The mysterious Heaven Lord nodded to Qian Xiangwei and the others. Brother Night Sorrow, come to my residence later. You can eat and drink. This is a must. Qian Xiangwei looked at Night Sorrow and said. Forever free of charge? Sister Qiangwei, don't worry. I will definitely go. As long as the food is ready. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Qian Xiangwei nodded to Night Sorrow and left with her people. Qian Yu even waved at Night Sorrow. The mysterious Heaven Lord brought Night Sorrow to a courtyard in the mysterious Heaven Mountain in the mysterious Heaven City. Lord Monarch, here are the 3 drops of soul cultivation liquid that you need. Night Sorrow took out a bottle and placed it on the stone table in front of the two. The mysterious Heaven Lord took the bottle and after taking a deep breath, he opened it. I didn't expect you to be able to obtain this treasure. Night Sorrow nodded. It was not easy. It was almost a gamble with his life. The mysterious Heaven Lord placed 2 king-grade teleportation crystals in front of Night Sorrow. Chapter 1062. Thank you, Lord Monarch. Night Sorrow kept the king-grade teleportation crystal in his storage ring. Regardless of whether you obtained the soul cultivation fluid or not, I would have given you the teleportation crystal. Because of you, our profound sky world did not suffer any losses. Just based on this, the teleportation crystal should be yours. Now that I have taken your soul cultivation fluid, I owe you a favor. If you need any help or have any difficulties, come and find me. However, there is one thing you must understand. I do not wish to attack my own people from the profound sky world, the mysterious Heaven Monarch said. Don't worry, Lord Monarch. I will take care of the Sky South dynasty myself. When the time comes, please do not interfere. They owe me too much. Night Sorrow understood what Lord Monarch meant. He did not want to make a move on the people of the Sky Mystic world. In other words, he did not want to help Night Sorrow deal with the Sky South dynasty. Haha. I am happy. You have earned big this time, right? Lord Monarch Xian Tian said with a smile. His heart was tense just now because the soul cultivation liquid was too important. Now that he had calmed down, he was happy. Not bad. Night Sorrow smiled. He knew that there were some things that could not be hidden. Lord Monarch Xian Tian naturally knew that he had gained a lot from the soul cultivation liquid. You are honest enough. Do you want to drink wine or tea? Lord Monarch Xian Tian asked with a smile. Tea. I have some good tea this time. Lord Monarch, please have a taste. I have not tasted it yet. Night Sorrow took out the soul cultivation tea. Night Sorrow had already fried the soul cultivation tea. On the way out of the immeasurable cliff, he had fried it and put it in a jade jar. Good tea. What kind of good tea have I not tasted? Drink mine. King Xian Tian looked at Night Sorrow with a smile. Lord Monarch, you have not drunk this tea before. You will regret it if you don't drink it. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Tea in a jade jar. It looks like you value it a lot. Let me try yours, Black Heaven King said as he looked at the tea jar in Night Sorrow's hand. After that, Night Sorrow brewed a pot of soul-nourishing tea. After spending so much time with people like Xuexi and Zhu Jiuyun, who paid attention to their daily lives, Night Sorrow's skill in brewing tea was top-notch. The tea was ready in just a few moments. Xian Tian Monarch and Night Sorrow slowly sipped their tea. Then, they both closed their eyes quietly. Because of the soul-nurturing tea, the energy was nourishing their souls. 2 hours later, Lord Xian Tian opened his eyes. However, Night Sorrow was still meditating. 4 hours later, Night Sorrow also opened his eyes. Your soul power foundation is not bad. Black Heaven Monarch nodded at Night Sorrow. It's fine. Lord Monarch, this tea is good, right? Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's right. Let me ask you something. I can confirm that you still have the soul cultivation liquid and soul cultivation tea. Aren't you afraid that I will kill you for your treasures? Black Heaven Monarch asked. I'm not afraid. There are people who can kill me, but it will be very difficult to steal my treasures, Night Sorrow said with a smile. It seems like you have a lot of trump cards. Since you are so confident, I believe you, Black Heaven Monarch said. It's mainly because I believe in you, Lord Monarch. Night Sorrow nodded at Black Heaven Monarch. Right, have you thought about where to set up the interrealm teleportation formation? Choose a good place. I hope to see the rise of the 9 regions world. Black Heaven Monarch changed the topic. Night Sorrow had no idea where to set up the interrealm teleportation formation. In the end, Black Heaven Monarch gave Night Sorrow a suggestion. It was the 7 Nights Mountain. That was an empty area in the celestial realm. After conversing with Monarch Xian Tian for a while, Yi Shang left. Monarch Xian Tian gave Yi Shang a piece of advice. Yi Shang had to stabilize himself before entering the Sovereign King realm or hide first. There were too many people who wanted to make a move on him now. Night Sorrow knew that this was a sincere advice. Many monarchs might want to kill him. Even if they didn't know he had the soul cultivation liquid, they would still be suspicious. Therefore, it was normal for them to look for him. After having a big meal at Thousand Wild Roses Mansion, Yi Shang left Shantian City for Big Dipper City and returned to the Celestial Master Pavilion. Seeing Night Sorrow return, Xuexi, Zhu Jiuyun, and Wu Lingfei were very happy. Night Sorrow had returned safely from a dangerous mission. Yi Shang had just sat down when Bei Xing arrived. You rascal, you came back without a word. I just came back. My butt hasn't warmed up yet. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Has the matter been resolved? Bei Xing asked. Yes, it has been resolved. Also, I have to leave for a while. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said. Why do you have this idea? It can't be that you're afraid of bringing trouble to us, right? Bei Xing looked at Yi Shan in surprise. No, I have something to do. I want to build a city. Night Sorrow spoke his mind. Bei Xing was sincere to him as a friend, so he treated him with sincerity. Building a city? That's a good idea. I can help you with anything. Bei Xing was very excited after hearing Night Sorrow's words. There's really no need for that. After I set up the teleportation formation, I'll get someone else to do it. By the way, is there anyone watching us now? Night Sorrow asked. No. Since the Infinite Soul Realm incident, there has been no one watching us in Big Dipper City. Bei Xing said. Then, Night Sorrow brought Bei Xing, Xuexi, and the other girls to Seven Night Mountain. Seven Night Mountain was a chain of mountains. The mountains towered into the clouds and were boundlessly magnificent. What a beautiful place. Why didn't I notice it before? Bei Xing said excitedly. The few of them surveyed the terrain and chose the location of the city to be built. Then, Night Sorrow set up the teleportation formation and placed the King-grade teleportation crystal on it. The mysterious Heaven Sovereign's piece could be cut into two parts. In other words, it could be teleported to two distant worlds. In addition, the No-Beginning Sovereign's piece was big. It could be cut into two main bodies and 4 or 5 parts. Night Sorrow placed a big piece on the teleportation formation because it was enough for the 9-domain world to lead to here. All future development would start from here. Then, Night Sorrow waved the sky splitter on the smoothest cliff of Seven Night Mountain and left 3 words, Seven Night City. Are we returning to the 9-domain world now? Xuexi looked at Night Sorrow and asked. It might be dangerous. There will probably be people waiting in BG City. This time, I've caused a lot of trouble. Night Sorrow said. Don't worry. Enter the spatial treasure and I'll bring you there. Even if there are people waiting, they can't let go of me. That will be a war between factions. Bei Xing said with a smile. All right. Bei Xing, I formally invite you to be a guest in my hometown. Night Sorrow looked at Bei Xing and said. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation Chapter 1 Inch Great. I'll take a look at your hometown. You should start building Seven Night City as soon as possible. I'm looking forward to the rise of the 9-domain world and Seven Night City. Bei Xing said. She was more excited than Night Sorrow. Chapter 1063. After that, Bei Xing brought Long Ding to the 2 extreme cities teleportation array. The guards of the 2 extreme cities teleportation array stopped Bei Xing. I want to go to the 9 regions world. I'm Night Sorrow's friend. Bei Xing said. Hearing that he was Night Sorrow's friend, the guards let him go because Yen Tian Po's voice transmission had reached their ears. After 2 teleportations, Bei Xing arrived at the city in the sky. After exiting the city in the sky's teleportation array, Night Sorrow, Xuexi, and the others came out of Long Ding. Comfortable. Night Sorrow stretched his back. At this time, Sikong Chuyu, Yang Lei, and Aoi appeared in front of Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow did not say anything and went forward to hug each of them. Why did you come back? Yang Lei asked. Can you come back home and let me have a cup of tea first? Oh right, this is my friend Bei Xing. He's a very good friend. Night Sorrow introduced. The 3 sisters are so beautiful. Mei Lan, Qiu Ju, each has their own style. Night Sorrow, you're so lucky. Bei Xing said with a smile. After that, the group went to Night Sorrow's residence. Yang Lei also went to the Spacetime Pagoda to inform those who had not broken through that Night Sorrow had returned. After a while, everyone who was cultivating in the Spacetime Pagoda came out. Seeing Night Sorrow, everyone was very happy. Under his mother's Yuqing's questioning, Night Sorrow told her about his situation in the sky profound world. Of course, he did not say anything about the dangerous things. After that, Night Sorrow told her about his thoughts and decision. Great! After we have our own city, we can establish a foothold in the sky profound world. Sky Underworld Saint said happily. Currently, we can only build and not make it public because we can't withstand the attacks of others. We can only wait for Night Sorrow to enter the King Realm. Zhu Jiuyun said. That's right. We can't publicize it for now, but the construction of the city can begin, Night Sorrow said. Without a King Realm cultivator, we don't have enough confidence. I don't know how long it will take for our faction to have a King Realm cultivator. It's quite depressing, Jun Xuanji sighed. Haha. This is the situation that no one is clear about. If it wasn't for Yi Shang wanting to achieve greater things, he might have already entered the sovereign King Realm. Wu Lingfei smiled and explained Yi Shang's situation. Hearing Wu Lingfei's words, everyone was stunned. In their eyes, the sovereign King Realm was an unreachable realm. It was a realm that was very far away. In their hearts, the appearance of a sovereign king in the 9 regions world was only a wish, a thought. But now, Wu Lingfei said that Yi Shan was already trying to break through. Night Sorrow is now a dual attribute half-step king. Once he takes another step forward, a king of the same level would be no match for him, Zhu Jiuyun said. Good. Long Xianxing roared. This roar gave everyone a fright. Commander, leave the construction of the city to us. You can go and cultivate in peace, Long Xianxing said. Beijing Unspecified Currency version 1. After a discussion, everyone felt that it was suitable to place the transfer array in the city in the sky. This was because there were no outsiders here, and everyone was a core member of the 9 realms world. Everyone agreed, and Yi Shang set up the inter-realm teleportation array not far from the side of the mansion. Night Sorrow set up 1,000 derivation illusionary array outside the transfer array. At the same time, he told everyone that if anything happened, they just had to put in spirit stones and the array would activate. After installing the realm teleportation crystal, it lit up. Night Sorrow brought everyone to the 7 Nights Mountain to take a look. Everyone was very satisfied with this place, and felt that it was suitable to build the base of the 9 realms world here. Father, the transfer array is in the city in the sky, in the territory of the Night Moon Empire. There are more craftsmen in the Night Moon Empire building the 7 Night City, Night Sorrow said to Yi Wuyo. Alright, that's not a problem. But building a city requires planning and resources, Yi Wuyo nodded. There are spirit stones in here. Father, take them and deal with them as you see fit. Night Sorrow took out 5 to 6 storage rings. Son, we can use the resources of the 9 realms world directly, so we can't use the spirit stones, Yu Qing said with a smile. Night Sorrow, we can do this. Set up a secret transfer array in the Big Dipper city, and send your people there to purchase resources from other places, then bring them over, Beixing said. Yes. But the people who purchase the resources must be of a low cultivation level. If they are not strong enough, they will attract suspicion. Senior Long Xianxing, you can arrange it as you see fit. But the people who have been to the Tianding Gate must not show themselves, or they will be targeted. Also, set up a normal transfer array to connect to other places. The transfer array is currently a secret of the 7 Night City, so it must be hidden well, Night Sorrow said. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, everyone nodded. The transfer array is extremely valuable, and we cannot afford to lose it. Although there are rules of order that prevent the transfer array from being attacked, there must be people guarding it. If there is a problem, crush my spirit crystal. Night Sorrow gave a soul crystal to Long Xianxing. Then, he changed to another area and set up another transmission array. Since the transmission crystals were installed, the transmission arrays were separated from the ordinary ones. This way, it would be safer. Night Sorrow then asked Wu Lingfei and Zhu Jiuyun's clones to stay here. Originally, Night Sorrow wanted Xueshi to stay as well, but Xueshi was not willing. She felt that Night Sorrow should have someone by his side. Then, Night Sorrow, Bei Xing, and Xueshi left the Seven Nights Mountain and returned to the Big Dipper City. Under Bei Xing's suggestion, Night Sorrow set up a transfer array in Bei Xing's private residence. There were guards in Bei Xing's residence, and Bei Xing instructed them to destroy the transfer array if a stranger attacked this place. Not long after Night Sorrow set up the transfer crystal, Long Xianxing, Xian Wenxiu, and the others arrived. Night Sorrow, one of your people should stay here. This way, it will be easier to identify the people entering and exiting the transfer array. The guards in my residence can fight, but they will not recognize your people, Bei Xing said. Then I will do it, Shang Luo said. Night Sorrow set up another transfer crystal on the transfer array in Bei Xing's residence. He wanted to set up a transfer array in the Sage Master Pavilion as well. This way, even if someone was watching him, he could return to the Nine Domains world without any problems. Night Sorrow felt that everything was almost done. He did not need to worry about the construction of the Seven Nights City anymore. Yi Shang calmed down in the Celestial Master Pavilion, but the rest of the world was not. The sovereigns were all wondering whether Yi Shang had obtained the soul cultivation liquid or not. Although they had guessed that Yi Shang's chances of getting it were slim, there was still a chance. If there were only 3 drops, then other than the Black Heaven Sovereign, no one else would have a chance. But what if there were more than 3 drops? When a sovereign went to another sovereign's world, there had to be an explanation. If a sovereign went to the Black Celestial Realm to look for Night Sorrow, the Black Heaven Sovereign would not tolerate it. The Zhangyan Lord was considering whether to declare war on the Celestial Wonders world. This was because one-on-one battles were useless. Previously, the Dark Heaven Lord did not participate in the battle and he could not find Ishan. Now, it was even more unlikely. The second watch arrived. Chapter 1064. The Grey Cloud Sovereign did have this idea, but the consequences of starting a war between realms were very serious. He had to find allies. The Grey Cloud sect was not strong enough. The Grey Cloud Sovereign controlled a little more than half of the Sky Dome realm's strength because the Grey Cloud Sovereign controlled a portion of the Sky Dome realm's elite forces. In comparison, the Xian Celestial Realm only had the Xian Tian Sovereign. The entire Xian Celestial Realm was under his control. The Grey Cloud sect could not fight against an entire realm. After thinking for a while, the Grey Cloud Sovereign teleported to the Moon Demon Realm. As soon as the Grey Cloud Sovereign arrived, the Moon Demon Sovereign appeared. Of course, it was his soul clone. Grey Cloud, why have you come to my Moon Demon Realm? The Moon Demon Sovereign asked. You haven't appeared recently because of the Nine Heavens Realm's troubles. Do you want to be as strong as the Divine Firmament Sovereign? There is a chance now, the Grey Cloud Sovereign said. The Moon Demon Sovereign's face turned black when he heard the Grey Cloud Sovereign mention the Nine Heavens Realm. He had lost a lot of face because of the 2 sovereigns of the Nine Heavens Realm. Soul Cultivation Liquid. The Divine Firmament Sovereign is much stronger than us because he used the Soul Cultivation Liquid to nourish his soul. His soul power is strong, and the will of heaven and earth is more effective than us. However, we might have a chance now, the Grey Cloud Sovereign said. If there is such a good thing, you will fight for it yourself. Will you think about others? I, the Moon Demon Sovereign, am not someone you can order around. The Moon Demon Sovereign narrowed his eyes at the Grey Cloud Sovereign. The Grey Cloud Sovereign thought for a while and told the Moon Demon Sovereign everything. You mean there is a high possibility, the Moon Demon Sovereign asked after thinking for a while. The Grey Cloud sect will naturally fight against the Xian Celestial Realm. Do you think I will do it if there is no possibility? The Grey Cloud Sovereign said. Have you thought about it? If we join forces and declare war against the Xian Celestial Realm, won't Xian Tian find other allies? Qiyu, Hailan, and Tingxi have a good relationship with him. I will not do it. You can go back, the Moon Demon Sovereign waved his hand at the Grey Cloud Sovereign. The Grey Cloud Sovereign exhaled deeply as he sat on the teleportation array and left. The Demon Moon Sovereign wasn't willing to form an alliance. His plan for a realm war could only go down the drain. The Moon Demon Monarch sneered as he watched the Tsangyan Monarch leave. He would never fight to the death with the mystic celestial realm. That would be a huge loss to himself. However, he would never let go of the opportunity to obtain the soul cultivation liquid. After returning to the Demon Moon Hall, the Demon Moon Monarch gathered his subordinates, the Beginner King, and ordered them to capture Night Sorrow at all costs. Demon Moon Monarch's 3 junior kings immediately accepted the order and went to the mystic celestial realm to look for Night Sorrow. After the Tsangyan sovereign returned to the Tsangyan sect, he also made the same arrangements. Since the battle of forces could no longer continue, they could only continue with the one-on-one battles. However, he knew that the chances of success were very low. If Night Sorrow wanted to hide, it would be very difficult to find him. Furthermore, the Black Heaven Sovereign was also protecting him. Night Sorrow knew that the world would be very chaotic. Therefore, he and Xueshi stayed in the Sage Master Pavilion and lived a quiet life. Night Sorrow spent his days refining pills, refining weapons, and cultivating his combat skills. This was because he still needed to cultivate the combination of the 3 combat skills that he had just researched. There was still room for improvement. While Xueshi was taking care of Night Sorrow, she was also guiding Ning Yun and Chiyue in their cultivation. Ning Yun and Chiyue knew about the relationship between Xueshi and Night Sorrow. Although they were not husband and wife in name, they were no different from husband and wife. The two of them called Xueshi Aunt. Night Sorrow also frequently guided Ning Yun and Chiyue in their cultivation. He would explain his recent cultivation of energy techniques to the two of them. Master, after reaching the Saint Realm, one has to rely on the power of laws to fight. Does that mean that energy techniques are useless? Chiyue asked. In the past, I had the same idea as you. However, that is not the case. Let me demonstrate it to you. Night Sorrow said. In fact, after entering the Saint Realm, he had neglected the research and development of energy techniques. Night Sorrow pulled out the space splitter from behind him. With a shake of his hand, he executed the space whirling dragon kill. The combination of shock wave and wave force attack blasted a black hole the size of a water tank in the space in front of him. Looking at the shocked Ning Yun and Chiyue, as well as Xueshi, whose eyes were filled with astonishment, Night Sorrow waved his hand and flattened the black hole. Main page, first post, what kind of combat skill is this? Xueshi asked. Space whirling dragon kill, space shock wave, and desolation shock force. Night Sorrow said. These days, when he was cultivating, his energy was restrained. Therefore, Xueshi and the others did not know the power of the combat skills that Night Sorrow cultivated. Master, there was a mistake in my understanding. This is too powerful. I have to cultivate it. Chiyue bowed to Night Sorrow. Take your time. It's fine as long as your understanding of the concept is correct. Night Sorrow said. After explaining the theory of energy exertion skills to Ning Yun and Chiyue, Night Sorrow went to refine pills. He had collected a lot of pill materials in the boundless soul realm. Half a month had passed. Ning Yun and Chiyue planned to go out to gain experience because actual combat was the best way to temper people. Night Sorrow did not object to the two's experience. Night Sorrow also never objected to such things. What he could do was to guide them carefully and help them with some resources. Shortly after Ning Yun and Chiyue left, Bei Xing came. She told Night Sorrow that the primary king of the Demon Moon Realm, Grey Cloud Sect, and Elemental Spirit Realm had all arrived in the mysterious Celestial Realm. Their target was obviously Night Sorrow. All of this was within Night Sorrow's expectations. Now that he was back, whether he got the soul cultivation liquid or not, the other party would make plans according to what he got. Regarding this, Night Sorrow felt that there was no need to pay attention to it. The courtyard he lived in had an array formation that isolated probing. It was difficult for the other party to find him. He still needed to refine pills and refine tools. Bei Xing supported Night Sorrow's idea. If Night Sorrow did not act recklessly, there would not be any trouble. The Grey Cloud sect did not get any benefits when they came to Big Dipper City last time. Now, they would not be too presumptuous in Big Dipper City. After 2 days of peace, Bei Xing brought news again. The news made Night Sorrow feel disgusted. The spies of the Sky South dynasty had once again acted as the lackeys of the Grey Cloud sect. Despicable people are really invincible. Xuexi's face was full of killing intent. Well, there will be a day to deal with them, so don't worry. Night Sorrow was now used to the despicable conduct of the Sky South dynasty. In addition, the primary king of the Scarlet Fire Sovereign has also come from the Scarlet Fire world. The mysterious celestial realm has really become the core of the turmoil. Bei Xing shook her head helplessly. Night Sorrow just smiled. The tree wants to be quiet, but the wind will not stop. This was the portrayal of his current situation. What could he do? The only thing he could do was to stabilize and wait for his main body to break through. After his main body broke through, Night Sorrow's doppelganger's fighting strength would increase. Don't worry. The mysterious Heaven Sovereign has given the order. The Black Scale Army is already stationed at the teleportation array. Intermediate King can't enter. Chapter 1065. I see. That's much safer. It's very difficult for a beginner king to kill me. In the boundless soul realm, it's not like I haven't escaped from an intermediate king. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Without an intermediate king, Night Sorrow wasn't too afraid. But in fact, sometimes, you don't look for trouble, but trouble comes to you. Night Sorrow wanted to cultivate quietly, but trouble came again. Ning Yun returned with serious injuries. Looking at the seriously injured Ning Yun, Night Sorrow frowned. Where's Chiyue? Master, I'm sorry. I didn't protect junior sister Chiyue well. Junior sister Chiyue was captured. Ning Yun knelt on the ground, bleeding from the corner of her mouth. Yi Shan's expression was very ugly. He attached great importance to Chiyue's safety. He stretched out his hand to help Ning Yun up and then sent a stream of energy to stabilize Ning Yun's injuries. Tell Master about the situation. Who captured your junior sister? Yanmen's sect. Junior sister lacked a main ingredient for alchemy, so we went to Yanmen mountain range to look for it. In the end, we were met by people from Yanmen sect's Dongyan Mountain Hall. They said that they wanted to capture junior sister Chiyue and give her to the young hall master as a concubine. After a fight, I was thrown off a cliff. I didn't die, so I came back to report, Ning Yun said. Night Sorrow took out a map and circled it, finding the location of Yanmen Mountain Range's Dongyan Mountain. Exhaling, Night Sorrow put away the map and handed Ning Yun a bottle of pills. Take the pills to heal your injuries. Xuexi, take care of this place. I'll go with you. Xuexi said. No need. If it works, I can do it myself. If it doesn't work, it's useless for you to follow. Don't mention this to anyone for the time being. Night Sorrow entered the teleportation array after saying that. When he arrived at North Star's residence, Night Sorrow put on his mask. After leaving North Star's residence, Night Sorrow entered the teleportation array. Originally, Night Sorrow had planned to go to Seven Nights Mountain and then fly to Mount Dongyan. That would be relatively safe, but after some calculations, Night Sorrow felt that it was too much of a waste of time. Time was of the essence, so even if it was risky, he had to teleport. Night Sorrow entered the teleportation array and teleported away for a while. A beginner king frowned. A half-step king? This doesn't match with Big Dipper City's half-step king. Could it be him? However, by the time he entered the teleportation array, Night Sorrow had already disappeared. After a few teleportations, Night Sorrow arrived at Yanmen City. Then, he flew towards Dongyan Mountain. There was a teleportation array in Yanmen City that led to the entrance of Dongyan Mountain. Night Sorrow didn't teleport there directly because he felt that it would attract attention and wouldn't be beneficial for saving people. After flying to Mount Dongyan, Night Sorrow activated the 9 regions' origin beads and began searching with his soul power. Saving Chiyue was his top priority. If something happened to her, it would be useless even if he massacred the gate of Yenshan sect. In Night Sorrow's heart, the gate of Yenshan sect wasn't as important as Chiyue. After probing the teleportation array, Night Sorrow waved Sky Splitter and destroyed the teleportation array. He knew that a battle was inevitable, so he destroyed the teleportation array first. After destroying the teleportation array, Night Sorrow continued to investigate Mount Dongyan. However, at that moment, someone had already discovered Night Sorrow. It was a one-star king. Who are you? How dare you act presumptuously in my Yenmen mountain? The one-star king roared at Night Sorrow. I don't have time to deal with you now. Scram! Night Sorrow growled. Night Sorrow used the spatial law to increase his speed and searched for traces of Chiyue in Mount Dongyan. The one-star king chased after him, but his speed was on a completely different level from Night Sorrow's. Yan Fei was shocked. He was a king, but his speed was far inferior to Night Sorrow, who was a half-step king. If he couldn't catch up to Night Sorrow, then no one in Gate of Yenshan Sect's Mount Dongyan could contend with Night Sorrow. While Night Sorrow dodged Yan Fei's pursuit, his soul power swept through the entrance of Mount Dongyan. He still hadn't found Chiyue. When he couldn't find Chiyue on the main peak of Mount Dongyan, Night Sorrow began to circle the main peak in search. As for Yan Fei, the Earth Attribute one-star king, Night Sorrow didn't care. He couldn't catch up to him at all. When he flew to the side peak, Night Sorrow's eyes were filled with anger. He found traces of Chiyue. In the hall of a courtyard, Chiyue was hung up. Her body was covered in blood. 2 women were waving leather whips at her. Another man was sitting on an armchair, drinking wine and saying unbearable words. What made Night Sorrow's guts burst was that Chiyue's right arm and right leg were twisted irregularly. It was obvious that they had been broken. I don't agree. If you don't agree, we'll play once. Although it's a pity, I can accept it, said the man sitting on the armchair. He was Yan Fei's grandson, Yan Jinghua. Hee. You're overthinking it. At most, I'll die. Don't even think about getting your way. Chiyue sneered. Even if you die, I'll still get my way. Yan Jinghua laughed sinisterly. Master. Uncle, you'll take revenge for Chiyue. Chiyue won't be able to stay by your side to make tea for you anymore. Chiyue raised her head and muttered. She planned to end her own life. She didn't have any regrets because she knew that Night Sorrow would take revenge for her. In her heart, Night Sorrow wasn't just her master, but also her uncle. Master will take revenge for you in front of your eyes today. As soon as Night Sorrow finished speaking, he appeared in the hall. Night Sorrow waved his space splitter, and the 2 women holding the leather whips had their heads chopped off. Night Sorrow waved his left arm, cutting the chains on Chiyue's body and pulling her to his side. Master, I want him to die. Chiyue grabbed Night Sorrow's robes with her left hand and said to Yan Jinghua. Good. Master promises you that today, rivers of blood will flow here. Night Sorrow nodded to Chiyue. Shameless boasting. A half-step king is just an ant in front of a king. Don't you know that? Yan Fei stood in front of Yan Jinghua and held his battle saber as he looked at Night Sorrow. Enter Master's dragon cauldron and watch the battle. Night Sorrow completely ignored Yan Fei. Thank you for your hard work, Master. Chiyue's eyes were filled with tears. Her heart was filled with gratitude. When she was young and lonely, Night Sorrow appeared and made her feel warmth. He led her on the path of cultivation. Today, Night Sorrow appeared at the most critical moment. He didn't know how strong the other party was, and he had appeared just to save her. He waved his hand and moved Chiyue into the dragon cauldron. After letting the cauldron's weapon spirit heal her, Night Sorrow turned to look at Yan Fei and Yan Jinghua. Damn it. What do you think Yenmen sect is? Yan Fei pointed his battle saber at Night Sorrow and roared. Although Yenmen's sect has a bad reputation, it has nothing to do with me. However, you shouldn't have touched my disciple. Today, I will kill you to get rid of evil. Night Sorrow let out a breath and said. Yanmen's sect was the same as Tiannan dynasty. They were cruel to their affiliated worlds. Night Sorrow hated it, but it had nothing to do with him. However, he couldn't tolerate Chiyue being in such a miserable state. The only original version, the others are all pirated. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, the angry Yan Fei waved his battle saber and charged at Night Sorrow. Then die. Night Sorrow used Space Whirling Dragon Kill to stab at Yan Fei's battle saber. Night Sorrow's Space Whirling Dragon Kill, which was supported by Space Will, directly hit Yan Fei's battle saber. Chapter 1066. After that, Night Sorrow entered the tent that Tianyu had set up. Wu Lingfei, Zhu Jiuyun, Xue Shi, and his 3 wives all entered as well. Night Sorrow lowered his head and fell into deep thought. 13. What are you thinking about? Aoi asked as she brewed a pot of tea. Should my original body stop cultivating and rush back to join the battle? This way, our overall strength will increase. Night Sorrow exhaled and said. No. Long Xiansheng and Xian Wenxiu entered the tent. Wu Lingfei, Zhu Jiuyun, and the others who were originally sitting also stood up. They did not agree with Night Sorrow's idea. Commander, the improvement of your original body is not only your personal achievement, but also the achievement of the 9 regions world. Unless it is absolutely necessary, unless the 9 regions world is destroyed, you cannot destroy your own future. Long Xiansheng said. All right. If the situation is not good, then we will talk about it. Night Sorrow nodded. He was also conflicted about interrupting his original body's cultivation. Night Sorrow felt that the variable in this calamity of the 9 regions world was whether the Heaven's Sealing Palace, which was controlled by his clone, could suppress the evil world's attack. If it could, then they could fight steadily, and victory would be in the 9 regions world. If it could not, then the battle would have to be fought quickly. 3 days passed, and the evil world arrived. It came from the bottom of the 9 regions world and connected to it. At this time, Night Sorrow's 9 regions origin pearl was transferred to his clone in the Heaven's Sealing Palace. Some resources were also kept by the Heaven's Sealing Palace. As the 2 worlds connected, the 9 regions world shook violently. This was the attack of the evil world, and it wanted to break through the 9 regions world. Night Sorrow's clone that had fused with the Heaven's Sealing Palace controlled the Heaven's Sealing Palace, which was also the 9 regions origin pearl, and began to suppress the evil world. With the support of the 9 regions origin pearl, Night Sorrow could completely mobilize the 9 regions world's origin energy, and fiercely suppress the evil world's attack. With Night Sorrow's powerful suppression, the 9 regions world stabilized. Feeling the consumption of his own energy and the 9 regions origin energy, Night Sorrow felt that he could hold on for 3 years. Such a situation calmed Night Sorrow's heart. 3 years was not a rush, and he could deal with the upcoming battle steadily. After the 9-domain world stabilized, Night Sorrow turned to look at the participants of the 9-domain world. The situation isn't bad. If we don't count the effects of the battle, I can guard this place for 3 years. In other words, we have to resolve this calamity within 3 years. 3 years is not a rush. Commander, you can arrange the battles. Long Xianxing said. Night Sorrow looked at the group of people and said, first, we have to kill. Kill all the life in the evil world, and get the evil world's origin energy. Then, we will win. However, the evil world is a manifestation of the heavenly Tao's calamity, and the world's origin energy will not be so easily found and destroyed. I will take care of this mission. After everyone enters, we will fight steadily and steadily, slowly nibbling away at the enemy's strength. The more the enemy suffers, the less impact it will have on the 9 regions world. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, everyone felt a little more confident. They were worried that the 9 regions world would not be able to resist the evil world's attack, and the battle would be very hasty. The current situation was not bad. Night Sorrow brought everyone to the bottom of Clear Sky Mountain, and then tore the space apart, opening a spatial tunnel, and brought everyone into the evil world. This is not very convenient. Shueshi, go to the Heaven's Sealing Hall and find my clone to get 300 Saint Spirit Stones. You go to Big Dipper City and find Bei Xing to help me get 2 low-grade World Transfer Stones. Night Sorrow said to Shueshi. Night Sorrow felt that this was a little inconvenient. After setting up a World Transfer Array, the war would be much more convenient. As for wasting World Transfer Crystals, that would not be a problem. When the World Transfer Array was not needed, it could be dismantled. In addition, Saint Grade and Saint King Grade World Transfer Stones were not very expensive. A Saint Grade World Transfer Stone could be bought for a few dozen Saint Spirit Stones, and a Saint King Grade World Transfer Stone was only worth 100 Saint Spirit Stones. Night Sorrow could afford it. Nodding to Night Sorrow, Shueshi left through the spatial tunnel that Night Sorrow had torn open. Spies, go out and scout. The rest of you, set up camp. Since we have time, we will advance steadily. Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow entered the tent that the members of the God-slaying team had set up. Sitting in the command tent, Night Sorrow sorted out the information he had received. The various teams were already scouting and killing the evil creatures. Lu Qin was in charge of the communication crystals of the leaders of the teams. In a battle in a different world, the use of soul crystals was the same as the use of communication crystals. Different amounts of communication crystals would send different messages. 1 communication crystal was a call for help. 2 communication crystals meant that they could not send help. It was extremely dangerous. Because there were many teams, managing the information was not complicated. Night Sorrow specifically assigned Lu Qin to manage it. The members of the God-slaying team followed Wu Lingfei into battle. Night Moon's team followed Yi Qianhua and Yi Tian into battle. Night Sorrow had instructed them not to be too far away from the camp. This way, he would be able to provide support as quickly as possible. This was also the reason why he did not participate in the battle. This was the first time Night Sorrow had experienced such a situation. In the past, when there were battles in the 9-domain world, he had always been at the forefront. He had never been at the back like this. However, he had to oversee the entire situation now. After 4 days, the teams in the 9-domain world had cleared out an area of 10,000 miles. Shueshi had also returned. Shueshi had brought 2 Saint Grade teleportation crystals. Bei Xing had helped her buy them. Night Sorrow had set up a teleportation array between the 9-domain world and the evil world. He had also arranged for Black Shang to set up a teleportation array between Clear Sky City and Clear Sea City. This way, they could quickly enter the battlefield. Bei Xing had also asked Shueshi to bring Night Sorrow a few books and letters. They were records of the world's growth tribulations. After reading through them, Night Sorrow understood a little. The world's growth tribulations were a test for the people of the current generation. However, it was also an opportunity. If one could survive the tribulations and win the War of the Worlds, the participants would receive the blessings of the world's origin. Of course, the extent of the blessings depended on one's contributions. The blessings of the world's origin would increase one's life level. It would also strengthen one's soul foundation. It was a rare opportunity. After closing the book, Night Sorrow understood that danger and opportunity were relative. They existed all the time. Many monarchs had experienced the test of the world's tribulations and achieved great things. Win. We must win. Regardless of how much we gain, our roots cannot be destroyed. No matter what, we must have a home. Night Sorrow looked at Shueshi and said. We can definitely do it because we are united, Shueshi said. Hashtag the only authentic copy, the others are pirated copies. However, the book also said that the life forms in the evil world are all energy bodies. Their level is higher than the world's tribulations. Chapter 1067. You can also fight above your level. Even if it's a 1-star or 2-star king, we won't be afraid. We can't possibly fight a 3-star or 4-star king, right? Don't worry, we can definitely do it. Shueshi looked at Night Sorrow and said. I'm confident too. Let's fight. Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow listened to the reports every day and knew a little about the situation. The creatures of the evil world were all energy bodies, but they had Dan beads and intelligence. They fought crazily without any regard for their lives. Yi Shan's command tent also kept moving forward, following the footsteps of the battle team. Night Sorrow didn't care about the fish that slipped through the net. A few fish that slipped through the net couldn't do anything. However, he left Xueshi behind to guard the teleportation array. Before Xueshi returned, Night Sorrow wanted to wait for the situation to stabilize before going in alone to see if he could find the source of the evil world. However, after reading the letter that Northstar had found, he knew that this method would not work. If he did not destroy the other party's strength, the evil world's origin would not appear. This was a comprehensive test for the 9 regions world, and there were no loopholes. As the team from the 9 domain world advanced, the array masters from the Ultimate Celestial Tower and the Ultimate Assassin Hall also set up their transportation arrays to keep up with them. Logistical support and manpower could keep up during a battle. Night Sorrow was a little anxious. The other teams in front were fighting, but he could only fight at the back. He couldn't fight at the front line. On this day, while Night Sorrow was reading the letter, Lu Qin entered Night Sorrow's tent. Commander, Elder Wu is asking for help. She's probably in trouble. What direction? How far is it? Night Sorrow asked anxiously. Wu Lingfei had always taken care of him, so he valued her a lot. He had special feelings for her. He definitely didn't want anything to happen to her. Southeast. I can't tell the exact distance. Lu Qin said. Just as Lu Qin finished speaking, Night Sorrow's body cut through space and disappeared from Lu Qin's sight. Night Sorrow pushed his speed to the limit in order to reach the battlefield as soon as possible. That way, Wu Lingfei wouldn't be hurt. In Night Sorrow's heart, Wu Lingfei was a strong person. She wouldn't ask for help unless she had no other choice. After a quarter of an hour, Night Sorrow had covered a distance of several thousand li. His soul power was fully unleashed as he searched for any signs of battle. After flying for more than 4,000 miles, Night Sorrow discovered the location of Wu Lingfei's group. The situation was very urgent. Wu Lingfei's original body and avatar were resisting the attacks of a black-clothed man. Half-step king, this black-robed man was a half-step king. Wu Lingfei, who was a star saint king, naturally could not withstand him. She was already in a precarious situation, with the danger of dying at any time. Her waist had already been stabbed, with blood flowing out. It was obvious that her original body was injured, and the Golden Phoenix flexible armor had also been cut open. The members of the God-slaying team were also battered and exhausted. They were being attacked by a group of high-level tamed beasts in blood-red clothes. Damn it. Let me deal with Aunt Fei. Night Sorrow's body flickered as he used Space Splitter. Next, he used Space Twisting Dragon Kill to attack the black-robed man. Seeing Night Sorrow attack, the black-robed man directly swung his blade. He had no intention of retreating. His eyes were fixed on the retreating Wu Lingfei. He planned to repel Night Sorrow and then continue attacking Wu Lingfei. With a muffled sound, the black-robed man was directly sent flying by Night Sorrow. Not to mention that he was only a fire-attributed half-step monarch. Even if it was a 1-star or 2-star monarch, Yi Shan wouldn't be afraid. After sending the black-robed man flying, Night Sorrow's protective barrier slashed and chased after the black-robed man. Then, he used Heavenly Wasteland Absolute Kill. With the sound of weapons clashing, the black-robed man was sent flying again by Night Sorrow. Blood continuously spurted from his mouth. The black-robed man's cultivation was inferior to Night Sorrow's. In addition, he was affected by Night Sorrow's will of space and will of time. The speed and energy of his blade were greatly reduced. Therefore, he naturally didn't have an easy time facing Night Sorrow's attack. After sending the black-robed man flying, Night Sorrow directly used Soul Extinguishing Slash. How could the black-robed man, who was already severely injured, resist Night Sorrow's Soul Extinguishing Slash? Night Sorrow didn't even need to replenish his energy. The crescent blade of soul extinguishing slash directly shattered his divine orb. The absolute kill was completed. Supra P. New Chapter, Section Q above. After killing the black-robed man, Night Sorrow started to attack the sage-level opponents who were wearing blood-red clothes and had tamed beasts. As Night Sorrow's body flashed, the blood-robed men besieging the god-slaying team fell down one after another. Night Sorrow killed them almost one by one. The god-slaying team also started their desperate counterattack. With Night Sorrow's arrival, they had a backbone. The battle ended in the time it took to brew a cup of tea. Night Sorrow arrived in front of Wu Lingfei, who was leaning against a tree and resting. "Aunt Fei, how are you?" "Fortunately, I managed to hold on until you arrived." Wu Lingfei smiled and nodded at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow reached out and grabbed Wu Lingfei's hand. He used his spirit energy to check her condition. His expression immediately turned ugly. Wu Lingfei's injuries were very serious. Her internal organs had been severely injured. The wound on her waist was emitting a fiery aura. In addition, Night Sorrow could sense that Wu Lingfei's blood was depleted. "Aunt Fei, did you burn your blood essence to fight?" Night Sorrow controlled the dragon cauldron and poured medicine spirit energy into Wu Lingfei. "Yes. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to hold on. The consequences would have been very serious. Our people would have been greatly injured." Wu Lingfei nodded. Night Sorrow understood that it wasn't easy for Wu Lingfei to hold on until he arrived. After all, the difference between a Star Sage King and a half-step king was too great. This was also because Wu Lingfei had the life attribute. Otherwise, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Yi Shang bent down and picked up Wu Lingfei. He enlarged the dragon cauldron and put all the members of the god-slaying team into it. Then, he controlled the dragon cauldron's medicine spirit to heal Wu Lingfei's wounds while flying at high speed. After returning to the camp's command tent, Night Sorrow placed Wu Lingfei on the bed where he was meditating. He released the members of the god-slaying squad and gave out healing pills for them to heal. Night Sorrow grabbed Wu Lingfei's arm and used his world's origin energy to heal her. At this time, Wu Lingfei's pale face flushed red. Because Night Sorrow was healing her like this, she didn't have any secrets from Night Sorrow. Seeing Night Sorrow's tightly closed eyes and furrowed brows, Wu Lingfei also closed her eyes. She guided Night Sorrow's energy to move around her injuries. An hour later, concubine Wu Lingfei cut off Yi Shan's energy. Night Sorrow stood up and took 2 steps back. Wu Lingfei also opened her eyes. "Aunt Fei, I'm fine. I'll be fine after resting for 2 days." Wu Lingfei tidied up her skirt. Because her skirt had been cut open at her waist, the wound had healed with the help of Night Sorrow's energy. However, the surrounding snow-like skin was already exposed. Chapter 1068. Auntie Fei, I was a bit rash just now. It was mainly because I was a bit anxious. Night Sorrow also felt that it was a bit inappropriate. It's nothing. Auntie Fei knows you're in a hurry. Otherwise, you wouldn't have arrived 15 minutes after Auntie Fei crushed the soul crystal. Wu Lingfei shook her head as she looked at the embarrassed Yi Shang. "It's good that there's no big problem. I was really afraid. If something happened to Auntie Fei, I wouldn't be able to forgive myself." Night Sorrow looked at Wu Lingfei and said. He was really afraid that he had arrived too late. He was afraid that something would happen to Wu Lingfei. When he arrived, he saw that Wu Lingfei was still fighting. Night Sorrow felt a lot more at ease. As long as she was still alive, he didn't need to worry. Everything was not too late. Everything could be done in time. Night Sorrow, don't think too much. This time, Auntie Fei's luck was a bit bad. "It's nothing," Wu Lingfei said. Night Sorrow sighed. Now was the tribulation of the 9 regions world. Everyone needed to fight. Although he was worried, he couldn't let anyone withdraw from the battle. At this time, his parents were fighting in front. "It's really nothing." Wu Lingfei supported herself on the bed and was about to stand up. "Auntie Fei, don't move. Rest for a few days first. Night Sorrow hurriedly helped Wu Lingfei lie down on the bed to rest. Seeing that Wu Lingfei was resting, Night Sorrow came out of the tent and looked at the situation of the other god-slaying team. After asking, Night Sorrow found out that fortunately, Tianyu and Yimei were fast and could save the others. Yun Huang, Liang Yu, and Ling Long were also strong and could help the others. That was why no one had died. Night Sorrow was a bit glad that none of his brothers or sisters had died. Otherwise, it would be hard for him to accept. After letting everyone rest, Night Sorrow found Lu Qin and told her to inform all the teams that they were not allowed to leave the big tent. Lu Qin nodded. She already knew that Wu Ling Concubine's team had almost met with a problem. Now, Night Sorrow had made such arrangements so that they could be rescued in time. In addition, Yi Shang also left Zhu Jiuyun at the campsite. This way, when he went out to help, Zhu Jiuyun would be able to hold on for a while and buy time for him to rush over when the other teams were in trouble. In the following period of time, Night Sorrow became busy because the deeper they went, the stronger the life forms in the evil world. Not to mention the half-step king, even if a peak stage Saint King appeared, it would be a threat to the team that went out to battle. Night Sorrow's command tent was also constantly moving forward. All the teams that went out to fight were fanned out with the command tent as the center. They couldn't be too far away, because Night Sorrow was worried that he wouldn't be able to rescue them in time. The area of the evil world was about the same as the 9 regions world. Even if they advanced 10,000 miles every day, it wouldn't be enough to clear it out. But now, Night Sorrow didn't have a good idea. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow thought of another way. He took out all the poison materials he collected in the boundless soul world and refined them into poison. He also refined the corresponding antidote. Then, under Night Sorrow's arrangement, Lu Qin distributed the poison and antidote pills. In addition, Night Sorrow made a batch of soul crystals and gave them to the teams that went out. This way, the group would be further away from the command tent. Night Sorrow calculated for a moment. With the poison stalling for time, he would be able to fly 15,000 kilometers in an hour. This meant that he would be able to provide support within 15,000 kilometers. In the following days, although Night Sorrow didn't take the initiative to go out to battle, he was still the busiest and most tired. The teams led by Yi Qianhua, Yi Tian, Long Xianxing, Xian Wenxiu, Xue Shi, Wu Lingfei, and the others needed Night Sorrow to go out and support them every day. At such a distance, Zhu Jiuyun's support couldn't keep up. She also led people out to battle. Night Sorrow realized that compared to the evil world, the strength of the cultivators in the 9 regions world was still lacking. The 9 regions world was much weaker. They could fight now because the people of the 9 regions world were like a rope, clenched into a fist. In comparison, the power of the evil world was scattered. As for which level was weaker, Night Sorrow already had a feeling. The 9 regions world was still okay for the saints and paragons, but the Saint Kings were not good. The quantity and quality could not keep up. However, Night Sorrow also knew that the current situation of the 9 regions world was already very good. One had to know that 10,000 years ago, there were only 3 Saint Kings. After spending every day flying and rescuing people, Night Sorrow was also a little tired, but he had to persevere. The people of the 9 regions world were also heavily injured and had died in battle. Night Sorrow's heart ached, but there was nothing he could do about it. When there was war, there would be death. Night Sorrow hoped and worked hard to reduce the number of deaths. After all, these were the elites of the 9 regions world, and they were all elites who were willing to fight to the death for the 9 regions world. They were all worthy of respect. When Xue Shi was injured, Night Sorrow's heart ached. However, he could only endure this pain because the battle had to continue. The battle had been going on for half a year, and dozens of people had died in battle, including a few saints. The Saint Kings had not fallen because Night Sorrow had been able to rescue them in time every time. Night Sorrow arranged for Xue Shi to go to Big Dipper City to find Beixing and ask him to help buy poison materials. He also notified Qian Qiangwei and Qian Yu. He believed that they would help him. Part 2 Chapter THRE Knight's sorrow was a person, and there were things that he could not do. However, it was war now, and war meant that there was nothing he could not do. Everything was for the sake of victory. Knight Sorrow respected and cared about the lives around him. Even if he lost his reputation, he had to protect the lives of the people of the 9 regions world. As for the use of poison, Knight Sorrow had emphasized that it was used to save lives and to stall for time. Bei Xing was very worried and anxious about the war in the 9 regions world. If Knight Sorrow had any news, she would immediately help. As for the various sovereigns' operation to capture Knight Sorrow, it was still in progress. However, it was mainly carried out in the Yanmen sect. Other than Bei Xing and a few others, no one knew that Knight Sorrow was no longer in the sky profound world. With people dying in battle, Knight Sorrow's heart ached. His main body was still in a state of enlightenment, and this made him feel helpless. Knight Sorrow's main body was much stronger than his doppelganger. He also had a king artifact in his hands, which could increase the power of his attacks. Half a year had passed, and the 9 regions world's team had advanced 7 million miles. They had killed countless evil lives. Knight Sorrow had killed dozens of peak stage Saint Kings and half-step King Saints. Although he did not lead a team to battle, Knight Sorrow's efficiency was the highest. On this day, Knight Sorrow was drinking tea when he felt his soul crystal shatter. Following that, he quickly flew in the direction he sensed. Although he did not know which team it was, Knight Sorrow was very anxious. This was because unless it was extremely urgent, no one would be willing to ask for help. Knight Sorrow's help was to save lives. Using Knight Sorrow's help could lead to the deaths of members of the other teams. After rushing to the scene, Knight Sorrow's eyes were filled with rage. This was because Night Moon's team was in trouble. His left arm was broken, and his ribs were exposed. Chapter 1069. Yi Tian was heavily injured, and Yi Linghuan was also injured. With a flash of his body, Yi Shang began to slaughter this peak stage Saint King. After a few moves, the team led by this peak Saint King was destroyed by Knight Sorrow. Then, he gave Yi Tian and Yi Linghuan the life spirit liquid and healing pills. Then, he brought the group back to the command tent and arranged for people to start treating them. Fortunately, they were all external injuries. It would only take a few days to recover. Commander, these are all external injuries. We have poison to protect ourselves. We have enough time to ask for help, Yi Tian said. Knight Sorrow nodded. He was very relieved that no important people had died. Worried, Yi Shang was still worried in his heart. If one walked by the river often, they would lose their shoes. After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow communicated with the Dragon Cauldron and went to Yi Qianhua's team that had returned. Knight Sorrow's 3 wives and parents were in Yi Qianhua's team. Holding the Dragon Cauldron, Knight Sorrow handed it to Sikong Chuyu. I communicated with the Dragon Cauldron. Now, take it and use it. No. This is your protective treasure. It can't reduce your battle power. Sikong Chuyu shook her head and did not take the Dragon Cauldron. Take it. This is not just for you, but for my parents and family. My body's defense is very high. Saint Kings can't break it at all. Also, take this 7 extremes poison smoke. Knight Sorrow gave the 7 extremes poison smoke and the antidote to Sikong Chuyu. Knight Sorrow did not feel that he was being selfish with this arrangement. He had done his best for the 9 regions world. In order to not let the people of the 9 regions world die, he had also done his best. Knight Sorrow valued his family the most. He had also taken out his own resources and protective treasures. After thinking for a while, Sikong Chuyu did not refuse because she knew that this was not her problem. It concerned the whole family. After making the arrangements, Knight Sorrow felt at ease. The battle continued. The battlefield continued to advance rapidly. Knight Sorrow went out to help every day. The main members did not die, but injuries were inevitable. The people of the 9 domains world were resilient. After recovering from their injuries, they would continue fighting. As the battle progressed, Night Sorrow's avatar in the Heaven's Sealing Hall felt more relaxed. Once the evil world's life forms were destroyed, the world's origin power would decrease, and the impact on the 9 domains world would weaken. The origin of a world was closely related to the life within the world. A barren, lifeless world would have extremely weak origin power. As the evil world's origin power weakened, the impact it had on the 9 domains world weakened as well. In other words, there was more and more time. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow decided to change tactics. When all the teams returned at night, he gathered everyone together. "Commander, do you have any orders?" Long Xianqing asked. "I plan to change my strategy. We need to be more stable." Night Sorrow nodded and spoke his thoughts. "Commander, we know that you are doing this for everyone's good, but this is a war between worlds. It is everyone's business. Everyone has the determination and belief to die in battle." Xian Wenxiu said. "Let me talk about the current situation first. Because our killing effect is significant, the evil world's origin power has weakened by 20%. Even if we don't achieve anything in the future, my avatar can control the Heaven's Sealing Hall and suppress the evil world for 5 years. We will have more results in the future, so this time will be longer and longer. Therefore, we need to be more stable and avoid unnecessary sacrifices. This is the problem that we need to consider." Night Sorrow explained the current situation. "So that's the case. What are your plans?" Wu Lingfei asked. "Above, I will first clean up the area where you will lead the team to fight. I will clean up the evil creatures above the Saint King rank. After that, you will lead the team to clean up." Night Sorrow said his plan. This will slow down the cleaning speed. Taishu Yen thought of the drawbacks. It will slow down by a third, close to half the speed. However, this is within our acceptable range. Night Sorrow said. At this time, everyone nodded. This tactic was correct. The only drawback was that Night Sorrow would have to work a lot harder. After that, while everyone was resting, Night Sorrow spread out in a fan shape with the camp as the center and explored a distance of 30,000 kilometers. This exploration lasted for about half a day. After Night Sorrow returned, he sat down to meditate and recover. The other teams then began to fight. The situation today was very good. There were no requests for reinforcements. Commander, this is not bad. You wasted time exploring and cleaning up the hard bones, but you also wasted time in providing reinforcements. Lu Qin came to Night Sorrow's tent. And that is indeed the case. I will continue to explore. If there is a request for reinforcements, I will rush over in time. After Yi Shan finished speaking, he continued to investigate. Lu Qin had arranged for the advancement of the campsite, so it was also a straight line. The other teams would also gather at the new campsite. After flying for 30,000 kilometers and reaching the critical point of yesterday's exploration, Night Sorrow began a new round of exploration. The following battles were carried out according to Night Sorrow's current tactics. Everything was going smoothly. Everyone knew that Night Sorrow had put in a lot of effort in order for this to go smoothly. Night Sorrow went out to fight every day and explored a large area. What made him regretful was that the evil world was a calamity for the 9-domain world. There were no resources to be obtained or collected. The only thing he could do when he went out was to fight. Night Sorrow felt that his hard work was worth it in exchange for the safety of the other teams. When Night Sorrow was fighting for the 9-domain world, many people in the profound sky world were very depressed. This was because they couldn't find any traces of Night Sorrow. If they couldn't find any traces of Night Sorrow, then the junior king who was investigating Night Sorrow wouldn't be able to answer to his superiors. Only Bei Xing knew what was going on. She had been secretly laughing. She felt that everyone who looked for Night Sorrow was a little stupid. There were no smart people. She also knew that the people involved couldn't see clearly. They were all blinded by benefits. As Night Sorrow's trusted friend, Bei Xing was doing everything that Night Sorrow couldn't do. Big Dipper City's people were already collecting poisons all over the profound celestial realm for Night Sorrow. In addition, Beijing was also helping Shang Luo with the construction of 7 Night Cities resources. Big Dipper King supported his daughter's actions. He thought highly of Night Sorrow, so he was also willing to help Night Sorrow on his path of growth. The Tsangyan monarch was very angry. Now was the best time to deal with Night Sorrow. If he could capture Night Sorrow, there was a possibility of obtaining the soul-cultivating liquid. In addition, killing Night Sorrow's doppelganger could affect Night Sorrow's main body. If this continued, Night Sorrow could very well take the step to become a king. All the sovereigns knew that Night Sorrow had already comprehended 90% of the will of space. As long as he kicked out again, he would become a king of space. No one would have thought that Night Sorrow was currently studying the will of time and had even reached the entry level. Tianding Gate. Elder Xiang's doppelganger was guarding the Tianding Gate, while his main body was at Danding Peak. He wouldn't allow any king to enter the Tianding Gate. The Medicine Valley, which was now Danding Peak, was a branch of the Tianding Gate. He naturally had to protect it well. The second update has arrived. I'm going out with my family for a walk. It might take a week. I'm an author, but I'm also a son, a husband, and a father. My family is more important than anything else in my heart. I'll do my best to ensure that the updates are timely. I'll also write when I'm at the hotel. 4 updates a day is not a low number, so don't force me to update more. Chapter 1070. With old Xiang there, no one who was looking for Night Sorrow could go to the Tianding Gate to cause trouble. If old Xiang didn't let anyone enter the Tianding Gate, who could force their way into Danding Peak? Forcing their way in would lead to a battle. If a king was no match for old Xiang and was killed, could the monarchs behind them step in? The mysterious sky monarch of the profound sky world wouldn't just stand by and watch. If a king from another world caused trouble for another king in the profound sky world and was killed, no one could do anything about it. The mysterious sky monarch wasn't a good-tempered person either. Second sister, I wonder where that brother of ours ran off to. He really knows how to hide. Qian Yu and Qian Xiangwei were drinking tea together in Xiantian Sky City's Qian Xiangwei's residence. Who knows? He's so good at hiding. If he wants to hide, he'll definitely hide well. This is a good thing. When his original body in the 9 Heavens Pagoda comprehends something, he'll be a king. A king won't be able to do anything to him, Qian Xiangwei said. Gap. Slowly, the gap between us will grow. I'm also going to cultivate in the heaven and earth manner. If he's a king and we're Saint Kings, we won't be able to play together even if we want to, Qian Yu said. Go. We'll have to pass this hurdle eventually. Although many Saint Kings in the history of our Xiantian Sky dynasty haven't been able to take this step, the great ancestors said that our Xiantian Sky dynasty will usher in a period of rapid development. Perhaps we can do it. Qian Xiangwei nodded. Most of the direct descendants of the Xiantian Sky dynasty were of the wind and lightning attribute. They had a secret place of the dynasty, the heaven and earth manor where the will of wind and lightning manifested. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. The war in the 9 regions world had gone smoothly. Night Sorrow's heart had calmed down a lot because he felt that the suppression of his clone in the Heaven's Sealing Hall wasn't so difficult anymore. Yi Shang arranged for Lu Qin to have the people from the 9 regions deliver some food and wine so that everyone could rest for half a month. Everyone could endure a year of high-intensity battle, but physical and mental exhaustion was unavoidable. This could be considered a small celebration, but the effect of a year's battle was very obvious. Because the teleportation array could keep up, teleporting to the 9 domains world was very convenient. Every once in a while, Shang Luo would report to Night Sorrow about the situation. The construction of 7 Night City was going smoothly. Now that the main city was completed, they had begun to construct the subsidiary districts such as the Exchange Street. Night Sorrow's advice to Shang Luo was that they had to finish building a part of the city. As for the living quarters, they could take their time. There weren't that many people going to the 9 regions world right now, and they wouldn't be able to use a city that was too big. While everyone was resting, Night Sorrow continued his investigation. Due to his speed and his powerful soul power, Night Sorrow's investigation speed was relatively fast. Night Sorrow told everyone to rest. He didn't rest because he wanted to catch up on the progress of his scouting. That way, he would be able to scout at the front of the team every day. After resting for half a month, the 9-domain world team continued to advance in a fan-shaped formation. The 9-domain world had opened a path towards the center of the evil world. That way, after killing the evil world's forces, the world source energy would appear. If the world source energy was destroyed, the threat of the evil world would disappear, and the calamity would be over. Night Sorrow's ability to link up battle skills was becoming stronger and stronger. He had become more proficient in using the 3 types of energy, and he was able to link up battle skills whenever he attacked. Night Sorrow's battle skills had become more proficient, and so had the others. Fighting was the best way to train one's strength. This was what Night Sorrow felt the most gratified about. While resolving the crisis, the 9-domain world's cultivators had become stronger. Night Sorrow didn't feel helpless about those who died in battle. After all, this was fate, and he could only do so much for now. As more and more of the evil world's creatures were killed, the pressure on the 9-domain world became less and less. Night Sorrow wasn't in a hurry. Stabilizing and reducing losses was the most important thing. After chatting with his family for a day, Night Sorrow once again began his investigation. After traveling over 20,000 li, Night Sorrow was surrounded. That's right, he was surrounded. It was a team led by a woman in red. The woman in red was a king, a 1-star king. The people she led were all saint kings. After blocking Night Sorrow, the group of players began to surround and kill Night Sorrow. Yongf Jujip watch for free. As the woman waved her long sword, the Thunder Monarch sword Chi, which contained black flames and thunder energy, sliced towards Sorrow. The will of space was added to his protective barrier. He dodged the attack of the red-clothed woman and attacked her subordinates. Night Sorrow's speed was his advantage. The red-clothed woman's speed was very fast, but there was still a gap between her and Night Sorrow. She could only chase after Night Sorrow. While moving quickly, Night Sorrow moved quickly and continuously killed the people led by the red-clothed woman. A quarter of an hour later, only the woman in red was left. Yi Chang had expended a lot of energy in battle, but so did the woman. She had been madly attacking Yi Chang with sword Chi. Although she had missed, she had still expended a lot of energy. After killing all of the red-clothed woman's subordinates, Night Sorrow's next target was the red-clothed woman. With the will of space and the space law's innate bloodline protective barrier, Night Sorrow's speed reached an extreme. He constantly attacked with the space rend. However, the woman was very strong. She was even stronger than the 2-star King Yen Qingfeng that Night Sorrow had met. This was because the woman had a movement technique. Her body was very agile. In addition, her attacks also contained energy techniques. Night Sorrow had never seen the red-clothed woman's technique before. It was a slippery stickiness. When Night Sorrow attacked her sword, her energy was able to stick to Night Sorrow's violent energy. She was also able to deflect it. "Who are you?" Night Sorrow asked as he fought. "Red-clothed." The red-clothed woman threw out 2 words. "Your existence is to attack the 9-domain world?" Night Sorrow asked as he attacked with the space rend. "My existence is to fight. I will kill the invaders and then destroy your world," the red-clothed woman said coldly. "Then I'll have to kill you first." Night Sorrow growled. He used the space rend and attacked the red-clothed woman. This woman was too difficult to deal with. Night Sorrow had no choice but to use his ultimate move. With the support of the will of space and the space law, Night Sorrow's space rend reached a certain level of speed. The red-clothed woman dodged the space rend attack. However, she was met with Night Sorrow's space-twisting dragon kill. Following a muffled sound, the red-clothed woman, who could no longer dodge the space rend, was bombarded by Night Sorrow's violent attack. She was sent flying. At this time, Night Sorrow's soul-extinguishing slash was activated. He directly attacked the red-clothed woman. A threat. Night Sorrow knew that the red-clothed woman was a big threat. He had to get rid of her. Otherwise, the other teams would be wiped out. Chapter 1071. Red Spectre's body had been sent flying by Night Sorrow. Of course, she couldn't dodge Night Sorrow's soul destruction slash. The crescent moon slashed directly into her spirit sea. At that moment, a dark purple soul power appeared in Red Spectre's spirit sea. It wrapped around Night Sorrow's soul destruction slash. But Night Sorrow's soul destruction slash was not so easy to block. It kept vibrating and attacking Red Spectre's spirit sea. While Red Spectre's soul power was blocking Night Sorrow's soul destruction slash, Night Sorrow rushed forward and stabbed Red Spectre's head. When Sky Splitter was about to reach Red Coat's forehead, Night Sorrow suddenly changed his mind. Sky Splitter paused for a moment before two reverberations broke Red Coat's arms. Then, he sent his void true chi into Red Coat's dantian, which had no power to resist, to control Red Coat's true chi. What the Nine Zones world lacked was powerful cultivators. If he could subdue Red Spectre, it would be a huge help. It could change the situation. After restraining Red Spectre's combat power, Night Sorrow's soul destruction slash continued to attack Red Spectre's spirit sea. Red Spectre was in full defense, while Night Sorrow was in full attack. The two of them entered a war of attrition. Night Sorrow's soul destruction slash was very condensed. Red Spectre's soul power could not block it. A moment later, it rushed to Red Spectre's spirit sea. When Red Spectre gave up and waited for death, Night Sorrow's soul destruction slash hit her spirit sea. When Red Spectre's spirit sea was defenseless, Night Sorrow's soul power entered Red Spectre's spirit sea. It was a success. Night Sorrow knew that he had Red Spectre under control, but subduing her would be very difficult. After all, Red Spectre was king. Damn it. What did you do to me? After everything calmed down, Red Spectre roared at Night Sorrow. I didn't do anything. I just took control of your soul orb. In the future, you'll have to fight for me. Night Sorrow looked at Red Shirt and stated his goal. Impossible. Red Dress stared at Night Sorrow with bloodshot eyes. It was clear that she was furious. It's not up to you to decide whether it's possible or not. It depends on the facts. Night Sorrow then shook the soul power he had left in the red cloth pearl. This time, Night Sorrow's tremor caused Red Coat to let out a miserable cry. Night Sorrow looked at Red Coat and said, "What I'm doing might be immoral, but for the sake of my homeland and the people of the 9 regions world, I'm willing to accept any blame. Your world can't win. You can't win. Do you know that?" Red Shirt shouted at Night Sorrow hysterically. "I am confident that I can win, so no matter how difficult it is, I will fight on," Night Sorrow said. "I'm just a commander. There are a few more commanders like me in the evil spirit world. The most important one is the evil spirit king. The evil spirit king is invincible." Red Shirt looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Invincible? There is no invincible opponent in this world. As long as you have confidence, there is nothing you can't do," Night Sorrow said. "The evil spirit world is connected to the evil spirit abyss. The evil spirit king is the master of the evil spirit abyss and the ruler of the evil spirit world. You will lose without a doubt. The evil spirit world will definitely destroy your world." Red Shirt looked at Night Sorrow and said something that Night Sorrow didn't know. Narrowing his eyes, Night Sorrow used the soul power he had left in the red cloth pearl to search Red Shirt's memories. As he searched, Night Sorrow learned more. The evil spirit world that the people of the 9 regions world called the evil spirit world was actually called the evil spirit world. All life was born from energy and then given flesh and blood and intelligence by the heavenly Tao. Red Shirt's memories were very short. It was less than 3 years of memories. In other words, she had only been sentient for 3 years. Look, he's right. P. Edition chapter. However, the evil spirit king was not. It existed before Red Shirt, but Red Shirt did not know exactly how old it was and how strong it was. There were 9 commanders in the evil spirit world who were at the same level as Red Shirt. Red Shirt's cultivation was low, but her battle strength was in the middle of the 9 commanders. Reaching out to grab Red Shirt, Night Sorrow returned to the camp. Ignoring everyone's shock, Night Sorrow brought Red Shirt into his tent. "Who is she?" Sikong Chuyu asked. Night Sorrow waved his hand at Sikong Chuyu and then looked at Red Shirt. "I'll talk to you now. You have intelligence and can distinguish things better than other life forms. Your God Pearl is controlled, so you have no power to speak of. When I tortured you, you could hold on for a while, but in the end, you still gave in. It was a painful process." Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Red Shirt looked at Night Sorrow and did not refute because Night Sorrow was telling the truth. "Then let's talk about what you'll have to pay and what you'll get in return. If you submit, you'll fight alongside us. What I can promise is that you won't be cannon fodder. After we win the 9 regions world, as long as you don't harm the 9 regions world, I won't ask you anything," Night Sorrow said to Red Robe. "Victory for the 9 regions world. What power does the 9 regions world have to win? I know the power of the 9 regions world. In every commander's mind, there is information about the 9 regions world from the heavens. There is only one half-step king. How can you win?" Red Shirt looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Although you are a being of the heavens, you know a little about cultivators. I have cultivated for more than 100 years and reached the half-step king in just over 100 years. I have comprehended the will of space and time. As long as I enter the king realm, I have a chance of winning." Night Sorrow said and showed his 2 types of will to Red Shirt. One with 90% will and the other with 70% will. "Both of you have a chance of entering the king realm." Red Shirt looked at Night Sorrow and said, "I'm talking to you because I don't want our relationship to be strained. I have plenty of tricks up my sleeve. For the 9 domains world, I'm willing to do anything despicable. You have to understand this. You can choose whether to submit or not. To me, the only difference is the process. The result is the same, and the result is the same for you. It's just that there will be more embarrassing and unbearable experiences," Night Sorrow said to Red Coat. "Then what do you say?" Red Shirt looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Of course. As long as you fight for the 9 regions world, after this war, as long as you do not threaten the 9 regions world, I will not ask you anything." Night Sorrow nodded. "Deal. Let's swear an oath to the heavens." Red Shirt exhaled and said. Night Sorrow reached out his right hand and swore an oath to the heavens. Red Shirt did the same. Hearing Red Shirt's heavenly Tao oath, Yishang let out a sigh of relief. Although he knew that Red Shirt was a heavenly Tao life form and was the most rational and would make the most appropriate decision, Yishang was still worried that Red Shirt would not submit. Now that he had subdued Red Shirt, he felt a lot more at ease. "What do you think of this war?" Night Sorrow asked. "Currently, we can only fight in the outer area. The core area is not good enough. We are not strong enough. Among the commanders, there are 3 that we cannot defeat. If we fight them head-on, we will only increase our casualties." Chapter 1072. In other words, we're not strong enough. Night Sorrow slapped his forehead. "That's right. The 3 commanders are mid-level monarchs. We definitely won't be able to defeat them," Blood Robes expressed his opinion. "I understand, but we still have to kill. If we don't destroy the evil spirit world, the evil spirit world will have a strong impact on the 9-domain world. We have to kill until the evil spirit world can't break through the 9-domain world. Only then can we fight steadily. Now, let's go and subdue the other low-level king commanders," Night Sorrow said. Looking at Yishang, Red Coat said, "Among the 9 commanders, there is one more who is like me. There is a chance that he will be subdued by you, but the others are not." Looking at Yishang, Red Coat's words made Yishang's heart turn cold. Night Sorrow originally planned to use the same method he used to subdue Red Robe to deal with the other commanders. But now, Red Robe's words made his plan fall through. Among the 9 commanders, 7 of them are dark energy beings. Without the divine orb, we can't control them. The other one is Lan Ning. She's in the same situation as me, Blood Robe explained to Night Sorrow. I understand. Let's hurry up and deal with Lan Ning first. Then, we'll try to eliminate the other commanders. After that, we'll rest. Night Sorrow thought for a while and made a decision. Then I can take you to Lan Ning. I know where the other commanders are, but they don't stay in the same place. It's hard to say if we can find them, Red Robe said. You rest first. Once you're done, we'll set off, Night Sorrow said to Red Robe. Night Sorrow arranged for Red Robe to stay in Aoi's tent. Then, he went to the command tent. In the command tent, a group of people were talking. Because they were too deep and their opponents were too strong, most of them were injured. Commander, did you just bring back a king? Zhu Jiuyun asked. Yes, I just convinced her. She's willing to work for our 9-domain world. In addition, I also found out some information about the evil world. This world is called the Evil Spirit World. Other than the strongest evil spirit king, there are also 9 kings. We can't fight them head-on. Night Sorrow sighed. Originally, Night Sorrow had thought that the evil spirit world and the 9-domain world's strength were on par, but now, that was not the case. The evil spirit world was much stronger than the 9-domain world. Does the commander have any ideas? Taishu Yen asked. I have some ideas. There aren't many craters left in the area we cleared. Some small teams can go back and continue killing. High-level saints and saint kings can stay behind. I'll lead a team to kill them in the future. Night Sorrow decided to take the elite route. This way, killing enemies might be slower, but it was definitely safer. That's good too. Long Xianqing nodded. I'll be in charge here. City Lord Lu Qin will be in charge of the team we're going to kill. Saint King Zhu will be in charge of the rescue. We can't afford to make any mistakes, Night Sorrow said. I'll still fight with you. After all, I can also increase my strength, Zhu Jiuyun said. Rescue is very important. A successful rescue can save many elites of our 9-domain world. We can't afford to make any mistakes. I'll be fine, Night Sorrow said. He understood that Zhu Jiuyun was worried about his safety. After the meeting, Night Sorrow encountered a new problem. Lu Qin arranged for people to retreat, but Yi Wuyo, Yu Qin, and his 3 wives were unwilling to leave. They wanted to fight with Night Sorrow. Bring us along. We want to live and die together, Sikong Chuyu said as she looked at Night Sorrow. Okay, we'll live and die together. Night Sorrow stepped forward and pulled Sikong Chuyu, whose beautiful face was filled with determination, into his embrace. After that, Night Sorrow gave Yang Lei and Aoi each a hug. Along the way, Night Sorrow felt that he had not let down anyone. He had not let down the 9-domain world, he had not let down the entire world. However, he felt that he had let down the women by his side. He had not given them a single day of peace. Son, you're the best. There won't be any problems, Yu Qing said. Father, you're the leader of the Night Moon Empire. Why don't you come with us? Night Sorrow looked at Yi Wuyo and said. Haha. There are some things that you don't know. Right now, a lot of Night Moon's matters are being handled by your sister. Later on, the position of ruler will be passed to her, Yi Wuyo said with a smile. Night Sorrow nodded. This time, Yi Nianxiao had been with Lu Qin the entire time. She had helped Lu Qin mobilize and control the movements of the troops. She was very good at controlling the overall situation. Right now, she had already led the second echelon of troops to retreat with Lu Qin. Then I support father and mother's decision. We'll go out and resolve some of the problems that can be resolved, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow did not immediately arrange for them to go out because Xian Wenxiu and Yi Tian were injured. Hong Yi also needed to rest. Aren't you in a hurry? Hong Yi asked after hearing Night Sorrow's arrangements. No hurry. There's still time. Even if we stop fighting right now, my clone can control the 9 domain sources to suppress the evil spirit realm for 5 years. If we make some achievements, this time will be extended, Night Sorrow said. So what if it's extended? It still won't resolve the fundamental problem. Hong Yi did not want Night Sorrow to fail. She did not want the 9 domain world to fail. She still needed freedom. Fundamental problem? This time is enough for me to rush to the king's realm. Night Sorrow clenched his fist and said. Actually, in Night Sorrow's heart, those mid-level king realm commanders were not scary. The problem was the evil spirit king whose strength even Hong Yi did not know. Are you that confident? Hong Yi looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I believe in myself. Night Sorrow nodded. Right now, I can only choose to believe in you. Hong Yi had no other choice now because she and Night Sorrow, as well as the 9 domain world, were bound together for good or ill. Believe in me. One day, you will be glad for today's decision. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Z main. Version. Night Sorrow was very confident in himself. He had comprehended 70% of the will of time in a single moment of enlightenment. He was still in the process of comprehending it and could enter the king's realm at any time. He also knew that if his original body did not comprehend it, it would not be as stable as it was now. In other words, his original body was in the process of reaping the benefits. As for when the benefits would turn into strength, he would have to wait. Seeing Night Sorrow enter the tent, Hong Yi was a little stunned. Although she had only been sentient for a short time, she still had some common sense. Don't be surprised. Night Sorrow has never disappointed anyone. Never, Yang Lei said to Hong Yi. After entering the tent, Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea. It was heart-cleansing tea. Soul-nurturing tea was good tea, but Night Sorrow did not want to waste it. Soul-nurturing tea was also effective for his doppelganger. It could stabilize the soul, but it could not increase its level. Because his original body did not increase, he only drank it once with Lord Shen Tian and did not use it again. He wanted to save it for his original body. Night Sorrow, don't feel pressured. There is nothing that cannot be solved. There are always more solutions than difficulties. Wu Lingfei entered Night Sorrow's tent. Okay, I understand. I don't feel pressured now. Night Sorrow nodded. Chapter 1073. Actually, everyone wants to share your burden, but we don't have the ability to. Wu Lingfei looked apologetic. Andi Fei, be careful in the future. I don't want to see you injured again, Night Sorrow said to Wu Lingfei. Andi Fei understands. Don't worry. We'll be fighting right under your nose, so you don't have to worry, Wu Lingfei said with a smile. Then I'm relieved. Night Sorrow nodded. In Night Sorrow's heart, Wu Lingfei was as important as family. He didn't want her to be in any danger. Night Sorrow drank tea while everyone was cultivating. Before his cultivation level increased, there was no room for improvement. However, it wasn't the same for the others. After intense battles, there was a lot of room for improvement. Night Sorrow gave everyone 5 days to rest. Then, he put everyone into the dragon cauldron that Sikong Chuyu had returned to him. Then, he took Red and flew into the depths of the evil spirit world. On the way, Night Sorrow often attacked. When he saw evil beings above the Saint Realm, he would kill them. Killing some Saint Realm beings would damage the evil spirit world's origin, and the impact on the 9 domains world would be much smaller. After traveling for half a month, Red Dress told Night Sorrow that they had entered an area led by a man called Iron Marquis. Iron Marquis was a 2-star king, but his battle strength was about the same as hers. Night Sorrow was confident in this situation. As long as he wasn't much stronger than Red Dress, he would be able to fight. After searching for 4 days, Night Sorrow found Iron Marquis wearing cold iron armor. Red Dress, why are you with someone from another world? Have you become a traitor of the evil spirit world? Iron Marquis, who was wearing cold iron armor and holding iron, shouted at Red Dress. Don't make it sound so bad. Those who win are kings and those who lose are thieves. I've lost, Red Shirt said. Then all of you can die. Iron Marquis waved his hand, and the Saint King team behind him charged at Night Sorrow. His target was Red Dress, so he didn't care about Night Sorrow at all. Be careful. Everyone, kill. Night Sorrow waved his left arm and released everyone from the dragon cauldron. Then, he used Cut to block Iron Marquis's path to attack Red Coat. He then used Space Twisting Dragon Kill to attack Red Coat. Bang! With a muffled sound, Marquis Tai was blasted back by Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow also retreated a distance. Even with Night Sorrow's Will of Time and Time Law support, Marquis Tai's attack was still very strong. In addition, Night Sorrow's attack was somewhat hasty. At that moment, the Red Spectre swung his long sword and arrived beside Night Sorrow. Red Coat, thank you very much. However, this is my battle. If I can't take him down, I won't be able to bring the 9-domain world to victory. Help me destroy the other minions. Night Sorrow extended his left arm to block Red Coat. Red Coat looked at Night Sorrow, and her heart wavered. She was somewhat impressed by Night Sorrow. At this moment, Night Sorrow could have let her charge at the front. Today, all of you will die. Iron Marquis roared and swung his iron towards Night Sorrow. None of us will die. The one who will die is you. Night Sorrow waved his space-twisting dragon and used Desolation Absolute Kill. Iron Marquis wasn't afraid of Night Sorrow, who was a half-step king. The iron in his hand, or rather, the frost iron, was used to attack Night Sorrow. As the two weapons approached, the image of time flowing appeared on Night Sorrow's space-twisting dragon. With the Will of Time and Time Law support, the time acceleration effect was very powerful. Iron Marquis's frost iron lost a portion of its energy. It was about the same as Night Sorrow's attack. The two weapons clashed, and the two separated again. However, this time, Iron Marquis retreated far away. After repelling Iron Marquis, Night Sorrow's protective shield slashed forward and caught up to Iron Marquis. He swung his space-twisting dragon again. Iron Marquis stared and swung his frost iron towards Night Sorrow's space-twisting dragon. Following an explosion, Iron Marquis's frost iron was knocked back. At this moment, Night Sorrow and Iron Marquis's weapons had exhausted their energy. However, Night Sorrow's power of desolation followed up and used Shockwave. At this moment, Iron Marquis's energy had been exhausted. Before he could use his new energy, he couldn't withstand Night Sorrow's attack. He was sent flying by Night Sorrow's powerful shockwave. His body was trembling non-stop. At this moment, Night Sorrow used Space-Twisting Dragon and slashed towards Iron Marquis. With the support of the Will of Space and Space Law, the Space-Twisting Dragon was extremely fast. It arrived in front of Iron Marquis in an instant. Iron Marquis's eyes were about to pop out. He roared and the Will of Wind burst forth. He used the wind energy to block in front of him. Iron Marquis's energy blocked the space and didn't get cut in half. However, his body was still sent flying and he vomited blood. He was severely injured. Soul Extinguishing Slash. When Iron Marquis's blood and chi were shaken and his condition was declining, Night Sorrow used his killer move. Hong Yi had said that other than the other commander, Lan Ning, the other commanders couldn't be subdued. Therefore, Night Sorrow used his killer move. The crescent blade of Soul Extinguishing Slash cut into Iron Marquis's spirit sea. When Iron Marquis's mind was in a daze, Night Sorrow swung his space-twisting dragon. The space-twisting dragon sliced Iron Marquis's head in half. Although there were no divine pearls, Iron Marquis's head was cut in half and his spirit sea was cut. He couldn't be more dead. Picking up Iron Marquis's frost iron, he looked at it and found that it was a saint artifact. Looking around, Night Sorrow saw that the battle was still going on. However, he didn't plan to interfere. Everyone needed to train. As long as there was no danger to their lives, he wouldn't care. The only one who was legitimate. The others were pirated. After Hong Yi killed the strongest Saint King, Night Sorrow stopped her from continuing to attack. Watch them. Don't get severely injured. Don't get killed. Hong Yi nodded. At this moment, she was very impressed with Night Sorrow. Iron Marquis, a 2-star king, was killed by Night Sorrow in a short moment. It was faster than her killing a peak stage Saint King. There were very few Saint Kings in the 9 regions world. Their levels were also low. However, their ability to fight together was strong. Therefore, there wasn't much danger. After the battle ended, Night Sorrow nodded with satisfaction. He was quite satisfied with the results of the battle. Everyone, enter the Dragon Cauldron to recuperate. Let's hurry to the next destination. Night Sorrow nodded to everyone. Then, he put everyone into the Dragon Cauldron. Let's move horizontally. The next commander of the territory should be Copper Arm. He's about the same as Iron Marquis. We can still kill him. After dealing with Copper Arm, we'll be close to Lan Ying's territory, Hong Yi said to Night Sorrow. Okay, we'll deal with all the commanders that we can. Then, we'll return to the 9 regions world, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow felt that killing half of the king-level evil spirits of the evil spirit world would cause great damage to the origin of the evil spirit world. The impact of the evil spirit world on the 9 regions world would be less. It would be more stable. Hong Yi, after we subdue Lan Ying, do you think the 3 of us can kill the mid-level king commander? Night Sorrow looked at Hong Yi and asked. Chapter 1074. Night Sorrow, I'm not sure. You should know that the difference between a junior king and an intermediate king is huge. Numbers may not be effective, and it's very risky. Hong Yi thought about it and said. You're right. Let's wait until we're confident. You lead the way, and we'll take care of a few junior king. Night Sorrow nodded. He felt that Hong Yi's opinion was conservative, but it was also stable. Now was not the time to be rash. After taking care of Copper Arm, Night Sorrow did not spend much effort. He also took care of a group of Saint King and Saint Realm evil beings. After the battle, Night Sorrow felt that the pressure on his doppelganger in the Heaven's Sealing Hall had decreased significantly. 7 years. Night Sorrow muttered in a low voice. What are you thinking about? Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. The impact of the evil spirit world on the 9-domain world has decreased. I can suppress it for 7 years. Night Sorrow said. Very good. The more time we buy, the more advantageous the war will be for the 9-domain world. Wu Lingfei nodded. Under Hong Yi's lead, they traveled for another 7 days and arrived at Lan Ying's territory. As soon as they arrived, Lan Ying appeared with a group of people. Hong Yi, what's the meaning of this? We're sisters. You brought the others to my territory. A woman in a blue battle robe with a pair of phoenix eyes looked at Shui Yi angrily. Lan Ying, I'm sorry. Hong Yi sighed. Enough talk, let's fight. After the fight, everything will be settled. Night Sorrow waved the sky splitter and said. Then die. Lan Ying waved her arm and a 2-meter-long sword appeared. She then chopped down at Night Sorrow's head. Night Sorrow waved the sky splitter horizontally in front of him. Q original version #first, release Ka. Night Sorrow's legs were pressed into the ground. Her strength was very strong. Night Sorrow realized that this slender blue figure had a lot of strength. Fortunately, his body was strong, otherwise, he would have suffered greatly from this move. With a shake of his arm, Night Sorrow pushed Lan Ying away. Then, with a wave of his left hand, he released everyone from the Dragon Cauldron. This was because Lan Ying's subordinates were rushing towards Night Sorrow. Red, keep an eye on them. I'll take care of her, Night Sorrow said to Lan Ying. You want to get rid of me? Boasting shamelessly. Lan Ying waved his saber and said. Whether or not I'm boasting shamelessly, we'll talk with our strength. If I lose, you can take my head. If you lose, I lost, I'm at your disposal. Without waiting for Night Sorrow to finish his words, Lawning directly interrupted Night Sorrow's words. Good. I like your temper. Bring it on. Night Sorrow smiled. According to Lan Ying's temper, if she won, it would be much easier to deal with. Lan Ying's body shook, and her battle robe fluttered in the wind. Then, she jumped up and slashed at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's right leg shook, and the energy in his body burst forth. He lashed out horizontally. With an explosion, the two separated. Lawning retreated a distance. Night Sorrow had the myriad Dao Tome in his body, and in addition to his own strength, Lawning was at a disadvantage. After repelling Lawning, Night Sorrow began to take the initiative to attack. However, there was a change in tactics. The power of Desolates from the myriad Dao Tome was kept in his body to increase his strength. Void True Qi and Bloodline Power were used alternately to display various battle skills. Now, Night Sorrow's battle skills were connected seamlessly. This tactical arrangement was because Lan Ying's strength was her strength. Night Sorrow wanted to defeat her in this aspect. In terms of strength, she was inferior to Night Sorrow. In addition, Night Sorrow's battle skills were ferocious. Lawning could not hold on and was suppressed by Night Sorrow. Are you still not convinced? After sending Lawning flying with a space revolving dragon kill, Night Sorrow roared. If you want me to be convinced, this is not enough. Lawning shouted. She was very shocked. Her strength was her strength. Her cultivation was higher than Yishang's, but her strength was not as good as Yishang's. She was very shocked and astonished. Night Sorrow did not speak. His protective shield cut through space and caught up with Lawning. After sending Lawning flying again, Night Sorrow used the Space Rend. He cut towards Lawning. After the Space Rend, Night Sorrow used the Soul Extinguishing Slash. When Lawning waved her war blade to block the Space Rend, Night Sorrow's Soul Extinguishing Slash Crescent Moon blade cut into Lan Ying's Spirit Sea. The situation that followed was the same as Shui Yi's. After a stalemate, Night Sorrow left a strand of soul energy in Lan Ying's Spirit Sea. You said that if you lost, you would be at my disposal. Is that still valid? Night Sorrow took a few steps back and looked at Lawning. Lawning looked up at the sky and did not speak for a long time. She then looked at Hong Yi and said, "Now I understand." Lawning, I'm sorry. He's actually a good person. Hong Yi looked at Lawning with apologetic eyes. This is fate. You win. Speak. What do you need me to do? Lawning looked at Night Sorrow with a straightforward attitude. Like her, help me fight this war. After the war, don't harm the 9-domain world or its people. I won't ask about your matters, Night Sorrow said. Deal. Lawning spat out 2 words. Night Sorrow waved his arm and roared. Another big problem had been solved. Now, 4 of the 9 commanders of the evil spirit world had been dealt with. Moreover, it was not a simple matter. The evil spirit world had lost 4 commanders, while the 9-domain world had gained 2 king-level commanders. There are still 2 more commanders that can be killed. Let's do it in one go, Night Sorrow said. He was now full of fighting spirit. In the next 2 months, Night Sorrow led a group of people to kill the other 2 king-level commanders of the evil spirit world. At the same time, they also wiped out the Saint Kings and Pinnacle Saints under them. After setting up camp, Night Sorrow looked at the rest of the people and said, "Currently, it's impossible for us to achieve great results. We can't kill the mid-level king-level commanders. Therefore, we'll withdraw our troops later. Commander, your mission is over. However, we can still kill the Saint and Paragon-level evil spirit lifeforms to weaken the origin energy of the evil spirit world. This is beneficial to the 9-domain world and ourselves," Long Xianxing said. In battle, killing evil spirit lifeforms would give them a boost of soul energy. This was the truth of risk and benefit. The appearance of the evil spirit world was a calamity for the nine-domain world. It was also a calamity and opportunity for the people of the nine-domain world. Victory in the war would be beneficial to both sides. Alright, you guys will split into 2 teams. Hong Yi and Lanning will follow one team and protect the safety of the people of the nine-domain world. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and felt that Long Xuanqing's suggestion was good. With Hong Yi and Lanning following them, their safety would be high. Hong Yi and Lanning nodded. They had both submitted to Yishang. It was true that Yishang respected them, but his words were orders. Chapter 1075. After arranging this and leaving soul crystals for both teams, Night Sorrow left. He wanted to go to Seven Night City to take a look and see how the construction was going. Also, he wanted to go back to Big Dipper City to take a look. Night Sorrow had left Big Dipper City for a year and a half. He also wanted to see what the current situation was like. He couldn't just leave without asking anything after provoking a bunch of trouble. Returning to the location of the Interrealm teleportation array, Night Sorrow directly teleported to Clear Sky City. Standing in Clear Sky City, Night Sorrow thought of another problem. The current situation of the war was dominated by the Nine Regions world, and the evil spirit world had not attacked. If the evil spirit king of the evil spirit world took the initiative to attack and came to the border between the two worlds and tore through the spatial barrier to enter the Nine Regions world, then it would be troublesome. Normally, kings could not enter the Nine Regions world, but now that the Nine Regions world was facing a calamity, it was different from normal times. Night Sorrow was not sure. In the Nine-Domain world, it was true that Night Sorrow's battle prowess was strong, but the evil spirit king's strength was strong. It had 3 commanders with the cultivation of middle-class monarchs under its command. That meant that it was at least a peak middle-class monarch, and its cultivation could be even higher. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow changed the 1000 derivation array under Clear Sky Mountain and raised the level of the array to the peak of the Holy King realm. A peak of the Holy King realm array could kill a low-level king, but it would be very difficult to kill a mid-level king. However, it would not be a problem to trap it. Night Sorrow wanted to control the enemy. Look at the original chapter. As for the safety of the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall, Night Sorrow was not worried. Unless the evil spirit world crashed into the Nine Regions world, then the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall and the Nine Regions world would be destroyed. If the evil spirit world could not do that, then the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall would be as stable as Mount Tai. Even if the evil spirit king entered the Nine Regions world, he would not dare to touch the Nine Regions origin shield. Moreover, Night Sorrow's clone, which had merged with the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall, had astonishing combat strength, and the weapon in his hand was a king artifact. Once the array was set up, Night Sorrow began the teleportation. Night Sorrow first teleported to Seven Night City. After arriving at Seven Night City, Night Sorrow nodded with satisfaction. Now that the main city area had been established, it meant that there was a foundation for development. Night Sorrow walked around Seven Night City and took a look around. Seeing that there were no problems, he took the teleportation array to Northern Star's mansion. "You're back. How's the situation over there?" North Star, who was drinking tea in the mansion, was very happy to see Night Sorrow. "The war is a protracted one. For the time being, there is no clear victor. The only thing we can do is to stabilize the situation," Night Sorrow said. "Is that evil world very strong?" North Star asked Night Sorrow. "Yes, there are 3 commanders with intermediate king cultivation. There is also a tyrannical evil spirit king. Currently, the Nine Regions world is unable to take them down. What we can do now is to stabilize the situation." Night Sorrow nodded. The strength of the evil spirit world had also exceeded his expectations. "Is it that serious? You're the strongest person in the Nine-Domain world, so you have to resolve the crisis. However, it's very difficult to kill a mid-level sovereign king. That evil spirit king is even stronger. Is the information accurate?" North Star was a little worried for Yishang, because the situation was indeed grim. The information is accurate, but I still have time, Night Sorrow said. Following that, Night Sorrow asked Northstar about the situation in the Heaven Mystic world. How many sovereigns were still looking for him? Northstar told Night Sorrow that those sovereigns were very patient. Even now, they were not in a hurry to let their subordinates search for him in the Heaven Mystic world. Then let's wait. Right now, everything here is stable. I just need time. The construction of Seven Nights City needs time. My main body needs time to cultivate, Night Sorrow said. Hee hee. Maybe your main body will continue to comprehend. When you wake up, you will directly rush to the Two-Star King realm. Northstar said with a smile. Can it be like that? Doesn't it stop after comprehending 10%? Night Sorrow asked with some surprise. That's not it. There are some cultivators with outstanding talent. When they go into seclusion to comprehend, they will have a big breakthrough. I know of one, Nine Heavens Realm's boundless king. Back then, before he went into seclusion, he was a 1-star king. After he came out of seclusion, he was a 3-star king. Northstar explained to Night Sorrow. There's such a thing, haha. Northstar, you are giving me expectations. Not to mention skipping levels, being able to reach the late stage of 1-star king realm is already amazing, Night Sorrow said. I believe you can, because no one has been able to cultivate to your level at your age. Looking at the Nine Heavens world group, the youngest king has cultivated for 1,000 years. What about you? After cultivating for 100 years, you can enter the king realm at any time. So, in terms of talent, no one can compete with you, Northstar said with a smile. I'm just a little lucky, Night Sorrow said with a smile. When you enter the king realm, you can try to find your 9-domain origin. If your 9-domain world is formed for a short period of time, or if it feels danger, it may recognize you as its master. If you can refine it, then you will be the World Lord. Once you become the World Lord, your main body will be immortal in your own world, and your clone will conquer the world outside. Whoever offends you will have to consider the consequences, Northstar said to Night Sorrow. Actually, I won't hide it from you. A long time ago, I was the World Lord of the 9-domain world. It's just that I can't become the king realm in the 9-domain world, so I came to the Sky Profound world. Night Sorrow hesitated for a moment, then said to Northstar. After coming to the Sky Profound world, Northstar had always been sincerely helping him. It was fine if she didn't mention this matter normally, but now that she mentioned it, if she still hid it, Night Sorrow would feel guilty. You are the World Lord? Northstar's eyes were filled with shock, then excitement. She was so excited that her fair face was flushed red. I have been for a long time. Because this matter is very important, I didn't mention it. Since you said it today, I can't hide it from you. Night Sorrow nodded. Hee hee. You are ruthless, but I am already used to the things that happened to you. Northstar patted her chest and said. It's better not to tell anyone about this. If the people outside know, they will probably seal the 9 Heavens Tower. At that time, it will be difficult for my main body to go back. Night Sorrow said with a smile. I understand. I promise I won't tell anyone, not even my father. Northstar nodded. I'll go back to the back of the Celestial Master Pavilion. Go and get some good wine and dishes. Let's have a drink. Night Sorrow said to Northstar. Night Sorrow left, and Northstar also left the mansion and went to the Heavenly Star Tower to get wine and dishes. At this time, Northstar was very happy because Night Sorrow didn't hide it from her, letting her know that Night Sorrow sincerely saw her as a friend. There were no servants in the mansion behind the Celestial Master Pavilion, and it had been a while since they lived there. Night Sorrow began to clean it. While Night Sorrow was cleaning, Northstar came. Seeing Night Sorrow wiping the table with a cloth, Northstar smiled. The World Lord of a world, wiping the table, I think only I can see it. Chapter 1076. What's wrong with that? Actually, I'm looking forward to a peaceful life. Making tea every day and raising some fish and insects is pretty good. Night Sorrow wiped a chair for Bei Xing. Huh, you're wiping a chair for me. Not bad. Bei Xing laughed and sat down. Bei Xing opened the food box and placed the dishes on it. Then, he poured a bowl of wine for himself and Night Sorrow. Because of my background, I've always been cautious about making friends. That's why I don't have many friends. You're my first friend. I believe our friendship will last forever. Of course. Bei Xing, I'll remember everything you've helped me. If you have something that I can help you with, I'll definitely do it. Night Sorrow made a promise. Then, Night Sorrow asked Bei Xing to bring the materials that the Celestial Master Pavilion had accumulated recently. He turned them into pills and gave them to the Celestial Master Pavilion. Recently, the Celestial Master Pavilion didn't accept customized pills and weapons. However, they still needed Saint King pills and Saint King weapons. After staying in the Celestial Master Pavilion for half a month, Night Sorrow met Ao Luyun again. Your safety shouldn't be a problem now. If you don't come out, no one should be able to find you. Ao Luyun looked at Night Sorrow and said. I might encounter some trouble when I leave the Nine Heavens Tower. Everything else shouldn't be a problem. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Ao Luyun thought for a moment and said, I'll help you solve this problem. That's not suitable. I'll think of another way. Night Sorrow said. Ao Luyun looked at Night Sorrow and didn't say anything. She understood Night Sorrow's character. He wouldn't easily accept other people's kindness. After staying with Ao Luyun for a while, Night Sorrow left. He came to see Ao Luyun. After all, Ao Luyun had expressed her goodwill. After leaving again, Night Sorrow left Bei Xing's mansion through teleportation. He passed by Seven Nights City and returned to the Nine Regions world. After returning to the Nine Regions world, Night Sorrow went to Clear Sky City and then to the command tent in the Evil Spirit world. After entering the tent, Night Sorrow looked at Lu Qin and asked, did it go smoothly? Everything went smoothly. Other than the initial losses, no one died. Lu Qin said. City Lord Lu, I have plans to rebuild Clear Sky City. With my avatar here, the Heavens Sealing Great Hall will be safe. We can build this place into the core city of the Nine Domains world. Night Sorrow spoke his thoughts. Yes, the construction of Seven Nights City is done by the core forces of the Nine Regions world. It is relatively easier to build Clear Sky City. The Nine Regions can contribute manpower and resources. Lu Qin nodded. Night Sorrow rubbed his forehead and said, building two major cities in a row will put a lot of pressure on the Nine Domains world. The pressure is great for the time being, but after the pressure passes, it will be a brand new Nine Regions world, a Nine Regions world that can stand tall in the vast thousand worlds. Taishu Yen walked in from outside. We need to play it safe. We can't let the Nine Domains world collapse, Night Sorrow said. The construction of Seven Nights City was already very stressful for the Nine Domain world. Adding the construction of Clear Sky City, the burden was even heavier. Later, the people of the commander's residence will discuss how to deal with it, Taishu Yen said. Night Sorrow nodded. He could only take charge of the direction of the development of the Nine Domains world. He did not have the energy or time to do so. Night Sorrow set up a tent not far from the command tent and stayed there to cultivate his battle skills. Staying in the evil spirit world, he could be the first to know and deal with any situation. He did not want anything to happen to the people of the Nine Domains world. As for the tribulation of the Nine Domains world, Night Sorrow felt that it would not be a problem. It could be overcome. It was just a matter of time. 3 months later, the two teams led by Hong Yi and Lanning returned. Both teams had killed countless evil beings. At this time, Night Sorrow felt that the pressure on the Nine Domains world had lessened by a lot. Everyone gathered in the main tent. Commander, fighting like this still can't solve the problem, Xian Wenxiu said. It can't solve the problem, but it can buy time. We can avoid the enemy's experts and kill ordinary evil beings. This is equivalent to weakening the evil spirit world's origin energy. The weakening of the evil spirit world's origin energy will lessen the impact on the 9 domains world. The main thing is that everyone is safe, Night Sorrow said. There's no problem with safety. The evil spirit king is in the evil spirit abyss. The 3 king level commanders are also near the evil spirit abyss. They are guarding the evil spirit abyss, so we won't encounter any kings if we kill in the periphery. Lan Ning looked at Night Sorrow and expressed her opinion. If there's no problem with safety, then everyone can continue to fight. I'll stay here. If there's any situation, just inform me. Remember, safety is the most important thing. Night Sorrow emphasized the issue of safety once again. While the clone in the heavens sealing Great Hall suppressed the evil spirit world, it also cultivated battle skills. It cultivated willpower, the power of laws, and the use of elemental power. Night Sorrow stayed in the evil spirit world. Every day, he would refine pills, drink tea, and stabilize himself. After more than a year and a half, close to 2 years, the 2 elite teams returned. At this time, Night Sorrow felt that even in his current state, his clone in the heavens sealing Great Hall could suppress the evil spirit world for 50 years. Of course, if his main body's cultivation increased, this time would be extended. We've cleared the surrounding areas of the evil spirit world. We can't go to the core area, so we came back, Red Coat said. Then the battle will stop. This result is very good. Next, it's my business, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow was also a little puzzled. Since his main body woke up last time, there had been no reaction until now. Normally speaking, this shouldn't be the case. The only explanation was that his main body was still in the process of comprehending. If he didn't comprehend, he would wake up from his meditation. But now that he hadn't woken up, he could only wait. If he interrupted, it would be equivalent to destroying his future. Moreover, the current situation wasn't very urgent. The situation was already under control, so he would just let nature take its course. There weren't many opportunities to increase his cultivation. Perhaps if he stopped cultivating now, it would be king, but he still wasn't a match for the evil spirit king. He still had to cultivate deeply. Night Sorrow felt that it would be better to continue cultivating in one go. No one asked about Night Sorrow's matter now. Night Sorrow's decision was unconditionally supported and carried out by the people of the 9 regions world. They believed that Night Sorrow could handle everything well. Then we'll stay here and guard. Those who need to cultivate can go and cultivate, Wu Lingfei said. To forge iron, one needs to be strong. If we want to completely resolve this calamity, we're still not strong enough. We'll retreat later. I'll bring up the rear and take down the world teleportation formation, Night Sorrow said. Commander, should we start the construction of Clear Sky City now? Lu Qin asked. Unspecified currency original V first release, I'll leave these matters to you. I can only deal with the war. You can discuss other matters, Night Sorrow said as he stood up. Chapter 1077. The others nodded their heads. Yi Shang had already contributed enough. Everyone had to be responsible for some things. Everyone, don't feel too pressured. Humans are born by living, and the path is created by walking. No matter which great world it is, we all have to go through this process of growth. Yi Sorrow left behind a few words and left the command tent. In addition, Night Sorrow didn't tell everyone that as the war progressed smoothly, Night Sorrow discovered that the origin laws of the 9 regions world had become much stronger. Not long after Night Sorrow returned to his tent, Sikong Chuyu, Yang Lei, and Aoi arrived at Night Sorrow's tent. 13, I have good news for you. I've refined that space. Now it has fused with the origin of space. It means that I have a space in my body. Aoi looked at Night Sorrow and smiled. Good news. Congratulations, 6th senior sister. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Aoi. It's all thanks to you, Aoi said. After we return, everyone should have a good rest. We'll pack up and return to Clear Sky City, Night Sorrow said. The battle in the evil spirit world had ended. There was no need to leave anyone here. While they were talking, Hong Yi and Lanning arrived at Night Sorrow's tent. Thank you for your help this time. Night Sorrow thanks you. If you need Night Sorrow's help, please let me know. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Hong Yi and Lanning. I didn't expect you to control us and be so polite. We didn't follow the wrong person. Your people are retreating. What will you do with us? Lanning looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Naturally, we'll go together. Follow us to the Nine Regions world. The evil spirit world is a calamity for the Nine Regions world. If the Nine Regions world can survive, the evil spirit world will be absorbed by the Nine Regions world and become nourishment for the growth of the Nine Regions world. You'll also need a place to live, Night Sorrow said. All right, I'll listen to the arrangements. What about you, Lanning? Blood Robes looked at Lanning. Naturally, it's the same. Lanning nodded. When she was first subdued by Night Sorrow, Lanning was dissatisfied with Red Coat. However, she had already let it go. At that time, Red Coat had already served Night Sorrow. She had no other choice. In addition, her situation was much better than the other commanders, King. Night Sorrow had also given her enough respect. Relax. You were born into the Nine-Domain world's tribulation. Living in the Nine-Domain world is naturally your home. No one will disrespect you. Night Sorrow comforted the two girls. Thus, everyone was teleported away. Night Sorrow put away the interrealm teleportation array and then tore through space to return to the Nine Regions world and to Supreme Sky City. Night Sorrow saw the core members of the Nine Regions world waiting for him at the interrealm teleportation formation in Clear Sky City. As for the construction of the city, I'll leave it to you all to discuss. I'll be here for the time being. Night Sorrow looked at the group of people and said this. Then, he went to the side and made a tent. He planned to camp there. Night Sorrow left. The others were still discussing. The final result of the discussion was to first build around the heaven-sealing Great Hall. At the very least, there had to be a City Lord mansion. While Night Sorrow was making tea, Red Coat and Lanning came. Both of them did not look well. Original version / What's wrong with the two of you? Night Sorrow asked when he saw that Red Coat and Lanning were not in good condition. Our lives are incomplete. We have flesh and blood bodies and souls, but we still lack something very important. When we were in the evil spirit world, we couldn't feel it. Now, it's very obvious, Lanning said. What they lack is the origin of life. In other words, they don't have the world origin of the Nine Regions world. The Nine Regions origins voice sounded in Night Sorrow's divine sea. Following the Nine Regions origins explanation, Night Sorrow understood some things. Life was produced by the gathering of spirit energy in a world and had the recognition of the world. However, Red Coat and Lanning were not. Their origin of life was wrong. They were energy bodies that had turned into flesh and blood. What they lacked was the recognition of a world. The evil spirit world did not have this ability. Living in the evil spirit world, Red Coat and Lanning could not sense it. Now that they had left the evil spirit world, the drawbacks were revealed. It was very difficult for Red Coat and Lanning to solve this problem. It could be said that they could not solve it. After a long time, they would slowly disperse and disappear from the world. It was a difficult problem for Red Coat and Lanning to solve, but Night Sorrow could easily solve it. I can solve this problem, but for the two of you, it may be a problem, Night Sorrow said to Red Coat and Lanning. You can solve it? What is the problem? Lanning asked excitedly. It is like this. I am the leader of the Nine Regions world, Night Sorrow said. I can control the Nine Regions origin. I can give each of you an origin, but because you are not from the Nine Regions world, once the origin enters your body, it will disperse. If you do not want it to disperse, there is only one way. Hearing that Night Sorrow had a way to solve this problem, Red Coat and Lan Ying's eyes brightened. they quickly asked. Night Sorrow told them how to solve this problem. There was only one way, and that was for the origin to enter the soul power that Night Sorrow had left in their god orbs. Then, Night Sorrow's soul power would completely combine with their soul orbs. As a result, Red Coat and Lawning would forever be under Night Sorrow's control. If Night Sorrow died, the soul power that he had left in their god orbs would disperse, and they would disappear. As long as Night Sorrow did not die, they would not be able to leave. The downside was that Red Coat and Lawning would know what they were thinking, and Night Sorrow would know what they were thinking. You win again. We sisters are destined to live under your control for the rest of our lives. But isn't it the same now? It doesn't matter if you continue to control us. Lawning was quite open-minded. Red Coat, what about you? Night Sorrow looked at Red Coat. Naturally, it is not a problem. It is the same anyway, Red Coat said with a smile. Seeing the two of them nod, Night Sorrow controlled 9 regions origin to enter the two women's deity seas and combine with his soul power. Then, his soul power dispersed into the two women's god orbs. Red Coat and Lawning did not resist. Instead, they cooperated with Night Sorrow's soul power to combine with their god orbs. After half a cup of tea's time, the combination was complete. How do you two feel now? Night Sorrow asked the two women. Our lives are complete. We have reached a level of compatibility with this world. There are no problems, Lawning said after sensing it for a moment. That's good. I will be staying here for a while. You two can go around and have a look. The 9 regions world will be your home from now on. If there is anything, I will inform you directly, Night Sorrow said. Red Coat and Lawning nodded and left. If there was anything, it was easy for Night Sorrow to inform them. Night Sorrow's soul power could transmit the message through their god orbs. After Red Coat and Lawning left, Night Sorrow's family members arrived at Night Sorrow's place. Night Sorrow, what do you plan to do next? Yang Lei asked Night Sorrow. I will go and transfer the space-time pagoda over. You two should cultivate. All I can do is wait. Wait for my main body to break through, Night Sorrow said as he looked at his parents and wife. Chapter 1078. That's all we can do. Don't be anxious. Take it slow, Yu Qing said as she looked at her son. Mom, don't worry. I'm fine now. Now that the 9 regions world has passed this hurdle, the road ahead will be smooth, Night Sorrow said with a smile. After that, Night Sorrow returned to the city in the sky. After putting away the space-time pagoda, he returned to Clear Sky City and placed the space-time pagoda in front of the ceiling sky hall. Those who needed to cultivate cultivated. Night Sorrow brought the clones of his 3 wives and Xueshi to the 70th floor. Xueshi's room was there. The environment here is not bad. It's more comfortable for us to stay here. Your original bodies have to work hard, Night Sorrow said to them. Sikong Chuyu and the others nodded. Night Sorrow, does this tribulation exist in all worlds? Xueshi asked Night Sorrow. After a space world is formed, it will definitely experience a tribulation. The more serious one is when a world becomes a high-level world. After we pass this tribulation, the 9 regions world will become a high-level world. It will be on the same level as the profound sky world, sky dome world, and 9 heavens world. And our 9 regions world is not the end, Night Sorrow said. Not the end? Xueshi looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. The first space world that I refined was the void space. That was a supreme void space. Later, I used the void space to complete the 9 regions world. Then, the 9 regions world had the potential to become a supreme world. However, I don't know when it will complete the evolution. When it evolves to a supreme world, there will be a tribulation. However, by then, our strength will have increased. It won't be a problem for us to pass the tribulation. This time, we came too early and were caught off guard, Night Sorrow said. Yes, we came too early this time. If you were king, you would have no problem passing this tribulation, Sikong Chuyu said. She trusted Night Sorrow the most. It was a trust that came from the bottom of her heart. After resting for a few days, Night Sorrow suddenly felt that he had nothing to do. He could only rest or watch others work. Tai Shu Yan had brought a group of craftsmen to construct the outer perimeter of the heaven-sealing Great Hall, as well as the city lord's mansion. Whether it was Seven Nights City or Haotian City, there was only one city lord, and that was Night Sorrow. Even if Night Sorrow did not care and did not want to do it, everyone in the Nine Domains world only recognized him. For such a thing, Night Sorrow could only accept it. After all, he did not need to do anything. 2 months later, Hong Yi and Lanning returned. Seeing Red Spectre and Blue Shadow, Night Sorrow noticed that their auras had changed. The evil aura that had been around them had lessened, and there was now a gentleness to them. We've made a round. How do you feel? Night Sorrow brought the two of them to the 70th floor of the Spacetime Pagoda and brewed a pot of tea. The biggest feeling is that your world is very humane. It is full of warmth and peace, Lanning said. You said something wrong. This is not your world. This is our world. This is the world we are fighting for, Night Sorrow said to Lanning. I was wrong. This is our world. Such a world is worth fighting for. Lanning saluted Night Sorrow, feeling embarrassed. I'm very gratified that you can have such thoughts and insights. I'm truly gratified, said Yishan. Your spatial magic treasure is not bad, Red Spectre said after turning his head to look at it. It's okay. Now that you two understand the Nine Domains world and have a sense of belonging, I will tell you about the Nine Domains world and its development, Night Sorrow said to Red Spectre and Lanning. We have seen all that we can see, especially the Eastern Xian region where you grew up and the Night Moon Dynasty. I like the feeling of the Eastern Xian region and the Night Moon Dynasty, Red Spectre said. No, you have only seen part of it. You know a lot, but you don't know much about the Nine Domains world. I will tell you about the Nine Domains world's development. I have obtained the Realm Teleportation Crystal. Now, the Nine Domains world is connected to the mysterious Heaven world. We are building a big city in the mysterious Heaven world. Night Sorrow explained the situation of the Nine Domains world to Red Spectre and Lanning. We are going to develop outside. That's good. Lanning said. The Nine Domains world has only been formed for a short period of time. There is no place where the will of the world manifests, so it cannot become a king. So, to break this shackle, we can only develop in other high-level worlds. Of course, after the Nine Domains world survives this disaster, it will become a high-level world. With enough time, it will naturally form a place where the will of the world manifests. Night Sorrow explained the current situation of the Nine Domains world to Red Spectre and Lanning. Yes, we understand. Lanning nodded. After entering the mysterious Heaven world, we will be connected to the Nine Firmament world. The horizons and opportunities of the people of the Nine Domains world will also increase. This is my idea, and I am already doing it. After the Nine Domains world survives this disaster, you can also go outside and take a look. Find your own opportunities and raise your level. Night Sorrow said to Red Spectre and Lanning. We all understand. You are the ruler of the Nine Domains world, and we are the people of the Nine Domains world. In the future, we will follow in your footsteps. Red Spectre expressed her attitude. Xueshi, bring Red Spectre and Lanning to the Seven Night City later to have a look. Let them know more about the Nine Domains world. Night Sorrow said to Xueshi. Xueshi had always been by Night Sorrow's side. Everyone in the Nine Domains world knew that Xueshi was one of Night Sorrow's people, so it was more convenient for her to do things. Okay, then I will bring them to have a look later. Xueshi nodded. Look at the Q section of the chapter. By the way, Red Spectre and Lan Ying's weapons are still relatively low level. I can help you refine them and raise their level. Night Sorrow said to Red Spectre and Lanning. You are also a weapon refiner? Lanning looked at Night Sorrow, her eyes full of surprise. I am a Saint King grade weapon refiner. I can upgrade your weapons to Saint King grade and raise your battle strength. If you need any pills, I can also help you. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Regarding his achievements in alchemy and weapon refinement, Knight Sorrow was still very proud because very few people could do this. In the next few days, Knight Sorrow helped Red Spectre and Lawning raise the grade of their weapons. Knight Sorrow was very impressed with Red Spectre and Lawning. The two of them were lifeforms born from the heavenly way. Not to mention that their cultivation was king grade, they had a very deep understanding of battle and had the ability to fight above their level. It could be said that this was talent. In 10 days, Yi Shang had upgraded Hong Yi's sword and Lan Ying's saber to Saint Ruler weapons. Their battle prowess had increased again. Xueshi, take them for a walk. But when you reach the profound sky world, don't leave the Seven Knights Mountain. The appearance of the new king will cause a disturbance. Knight Sorrow said to Xueshi. Knight Sorrow's concerns were not without reason. If a junior king did not belong to a force, then the other senior kings would have thoughts of subduing them. If they could not be subdued, then they would be destroyed. Chapter 1079. Knight Sorrow, I know what to do. Don't worry. I'm only bringing them out to broaden my horizons. We won't cause any trouble. Xueshi nodded. Knight Sorrow then waved his hand and threw Xueshi, Hong Yi, and Lawning out of the space-time treasure pagoda. What? We haven't even finished talking and you threw us out, Lawning muttered. Let's go. Let's take a look at our 9-domain world's base in the profound sky world, Xueshi said with a smile. Within the space-time treasure pagoda, Knight Sorrow and his 3 wives were talking. Above Knight Sorrow, after this calamity, our 9-domain world will become a high-grade world. There is no need to pay such a huge price to build 7 Knights City in the profound celestial realm, Sikong Chuyu said. It is necessary. The 9-domain world needs time to become a mature high-grade world or even in sovereign world. Furthermore, the cultivators of our 9-domain world still need to go out and interact with the cultivators of other worlds. Only then can we increase our level. The profound sky world is the gateway between us and the 9-firmament world. Knight Sorrow shook his head. He had thought about Sikong Chuyu's opinion before, but his thoughts on building 7 Knights City had never wavered. N13's words are reasonable. 7 Knights City still needs to be built. This will only bring us benefits and no harm. In the future, we will focus on developing Clear Sky City. Yang Lei also agreed with Knight Sorrow's point of view. With nothing else to do, Knight Sorrow exchanged battle skills with his 3 wives. In truth, he was also guiding his 3 wives in their cultivation and increasing their battle strength. Knight Sorrow's teaching was very simple. He just stood there and displayed 3 different energy techniques for his 3 wives to comprehend. While cultivating with his 3 wives, Knight Sorrow also guided Yin Yanxiao, July, and Ning Yun in their cultivation. Knight Sorrow did not impart his experience to others. He only shared his comprehension and understanding of battle. Big brother, I don't have enough strength. I can only pursue speed. Yin Yanxiao said after sparring with Ning Yun. Actually, strength and speed are interlinked. This requires a technique to add the inertia of speed to strength. This is how they complement each other. Ning Yun, your strength is strong. You can use the explosive force to charge forward and backward to increase your speed, Knight Sorrow said. Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Ning Yun and Yin Yanxiao nodded. Knight Sorrow's words had opened a door for them. These are all universal. The other thing is to research the combat skills that you're good at and that are unique to you. Only then will you be different from ordinary cultivators, Knight Sorrow reminded them again. With your guidance, they'll be able to avoid many detours. Aoi came to Knight Sorrow's side. She looked at the departing figures of Yin Yanxiao and the others. It mainly depends on talent and aptitude. As for how far they can go, it depends on themselves. I'm also groping my way through cultivation, so the guidance I can give is limited, Night Sorrow said. Haha. Your guidance is limited? Right now, you're the number one person in the 9-domain world. How many people hope to get your guidance? That includes everyone. Yang Lei patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. Night Sorrow smiled. He hadn't thought about this. He had always been too busy. Afterwards, Night Sorrow took the girls for a stroll around Supreme Sky City. The current Supreme Sky City was completely different from when Night Sorrow had first come here. When Night Sorrow had first come here, Supreme Sky City didn't have any vitality. It was a barren land. But now, it was filled with lush greenery and was full of vitality. Supreme Sky City had the Heaven's Sealing Hall. With the restoration of the 9-domain world, the Heaven's Sealing Hall was no longer in a state where it could only maintain itself. It had already spread its origin energy in all directions. In addition, the main city had been constructed, and the transmission array had been set up. Night Sorrow had said that Supreme Sky City would become the core of the 9-domain world. Therefore, the transmission array was set up to connect to the major cities of the various domains. With the Heaven's Sealing Hall, there wouldn't be a problem with the flow of people in the future. Now, the inns and restaurants had been built. As for the division of power, Night Sorrow didn't even ask about it. He believed that the commander's residence would handle it well. After walking around, Night Sorrow brought his 3 wives back to the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda. Everything is changing. The rise of the 9-domain world is unstoppable. It just needs time. Night Sorrow was still a little emotional. Yes, but you're too tired. Aoi felt sorry for Night Sorrow. It's nothing. It's just a special period. Once it's over, everything will be fine. Night Sorrow smiled. Night Sorrow knew that the most important factor in the future was when he became a king. Saint Kings had a limited lifespan. King didn't have this problem. Also, as long as a king-level sector lord didn't act rashly, he wouldn't die. If Night Sorrow could enter the king realm, then the 9-domain world could produce a king. For a world to produce a king-level cultivator, there were 2 conditions. First, it had to be a mature high-level world. The 9-domain world had just passed its tribulation to become a high-level world. However, it was just a newly formed high-level world. It still needed a long time to mature. The second condition was that the life form of the world broke through to the king realm. Therefore, the fastest way for the 9-domain world to develop was for Night Sorrow to break through to the king realm. After resting for a few days, Night Sorrow wanted to move. With the clone and the Heaven's Sealing Hall guarding this place, it was safe. Night Sorrow brought his 3 wives to the eastern Xian region. The first place they went to was the Saint Hall. The Saint Hall was now truly a holy land. The first batch of members had produced many venerables. Most importantly, the Hall Master of the Saint Hall was the 9-domain world's realm lord, Night Sorrow. When Night Sorrow arrived, Yin Yanxiao, Ning Yun and Chiyue were also there. They were guiding the new students in the practice field. Night Sorrow didn't greet anyone. That would disturb the others' cultivation. Yishang glanced around and found that the rattan chair where he had been resting was still there. He walked over and lay down on it. The scene of him searching for return to origin still played in his mind. Sikong Chuyu, Yang Lei, and Aoi were hugging their shoulders as they watched the group of children cultivate. Who are you? Get up. That's not a place you can sit. When Night Sorrow closed his eyes to rest, a roar entered Night Sorrow's ears. What's going on? Night Sorrow was startled. This roar had given him a fright. Didn't you hear me? I told you to get up. A girl's figure stood there. Don't be so fierce. This is my chair. Night Sorrow didn't get up. He tidied his robes to rest more comfortably. What's going on? Bei Tiangu, who was originally resting at the front of the practice field, stood up. He's sitting on the hall master's seat and isn't getting up. The 16 or 17-year-old girl pointed at Night Sorrow. Following the girl's finger, Bei Tiangu saw Yishang. He quickly walked in front of Yishang, bowed, and cupped his hands. Chapter 1080. What's going on? This is my own chair. Is there a problem with me sitting on it? Yishang looked at Bei Tiangu and said. He was not blaming anyone in his heart. It was just that he was interrupted while he was reminiscing, and he felt a little unhappy. Lord Commander, don't be angry. These new students don't know the situation. Bei Tiangu explained. Knight Sorrow was the realm master of the 9 regions world. He was supreme in the 9 regions world. Whether it was strength or reputation, he was the highest. Let alone scolding him, no one could even say anything disrespectful. Anyone who attacked Knight Sorrow would be the public enemy of the 9 regions world. But today, in the holy hall that Knight Sorrow had established, Knight Sorrow had been scolded. Bei Tiangu felt very uncomfortable and even terrified. Forget it, it's nothing. It's just that I won't feel anything if I stay here any longer. You have a fiery temper. Work hard. Knight Sorrow stood up and glanced at the girl. Then he left the holy hall with Sikong Chuyu and the others. Elder, I've caused trouble. The girl who had scolded Knight Sorrow said with tears in her eyes. If the commander says it's nothing, then it's nothing. He won't care about this. It's rare for him to come and rest, but you scolded him and he ran away. Sigh. Bei Tiangu felt very helpless. Haha. Almost all the people who scolded my brother are dead. After scolding him, the only one who's fine is you. Very good. Follow me in the future. Yin Yan walked over with a smile and patted the girl's shoulder. Senior sister, Lan Ling scolded your brother. Aren't you angry? The girl called Lan Ling looked at Yin Yan with some fear in her eyes. Elder said that if my brother says it's nothing, then it's nothing. Do you doubt my brother's tolerance? Besides, you're protecting my brother. Everyone knows that. Yin Yan smiled. Master established the holy hall to give some children who lack someone to take care of some warmth. He wants to see everyone live a happy life. It's just that you interrupted some of his thoughts. You don't have to worry about others blaming you. Ningyun nodded to Lan Ling. Knight Sorrow brought his wife to Qin Chen's tea house. Yongjiu. Be free. Small percent say, what a rare guest. You haven't been here for a long time. Why do you look so bad? As soon as Knight Sorrow entered the tea house, Qin Chen came over with 2 jars of wine. Haha. He was just scolded by someone. It would be strange if his expression was good, Yang Lei said. Just now, that was someone from the 9 domains world. Who scolded you? Qin Chen's smile disappeared and anger appeared on his face. He was not happy. He knew how much Knight Sorrow had sacrificed for the 9 domain world. He would protect Knight Sorrow until the end. He's just a kid from the Holy Church. Don't blame me for not knowing. It's nothing. Knight Sorrow shook his head helplessly. Haha. Interesting. Let's drink. Hey. Make some dishes. Chen Chen chuckled and turned around to shout at the restaurant. Knight Sorrow looked at Chen Chen and said, You're living a comfortable life as a boss. I'm actually very envious of your life. Then how many people envy you? What's wrong with you? Where's the child? Chen Chen looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. I want one too, but my original body has been cultivating. I can only wait. Knight Sorrow shook his head helplessly. I shouldn't have mentioned this, but you have to hurry up. Chen Chen looked at Knight Sorrow's 3 wives and said apologetically. Knight Sorrow nodded. He also wanted to do this. After drinking with Chen Chen and his wife, Knight Sorrow took his wives for a walk around Zhuyuan City. Then they arrived at the Medicine Valley. The structure of the Medicine Valley had not changed. It was just that the older generation took some people to the Tianding Gate. Gong Xian was still in charge of the Medicine Valley. Seeing Night Sorrow and his wives coming back, Gong Xian and the older disciples of the Taixian Peak were very happy. It was inevitable that everyone would drink a lot. After that, Night Sorrow took his 3 wives to the bamboo forest peak and stayed there. He just wanted to have a few days of peace. Night Sorrow, who lived in the bamboo forest peak, was like an ordinary woodcutter. He chopped his own firewood, boiled his own water, and made his own tea. In the past, disciples of the Medicine Valley would come to ask Night Sorrow for advice. Now, there was no such thing because the Medicine Valley had set a rule that outsiders were not allowed to approach the bamboo forest peak. Night Sorrow, do you like this life or do you just want to ease your mind? Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow, who lit the fire and boiled the water, and asked. Both. In the blink of an eye, time flies like clouds and smoke. Looking back, 100 years have passed. Night Sorrow said with some emotion. I'm going to faint. 13, if I remember correctly, you were born a hunter, right? You can write poems now? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow with some surprise. What's wrong with being born a hunter? Old Man Gu taught me how to read and write since I was young. All these years, I have read a lot of alchemy, blacksmithing, and ancient books. Many of them are classical, so I know some poems, Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's true. What kind of person is our Night Sorrow? He's an all-rounder, Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. I miss Old Man Gu a little. Let's go to the city in the sky to accompany him later, Night Sorrow said. After staying in the bamboo forest peak for half a month, Night Sorrow, his wife, Gong Xian, and the others bade farewell and returned to the city in the sky. Night Sorrow accompanied Old Man Gu for drinks and tea every day. Then, they went to the lake on the boat. Night Sorrow rested for a few days. Xueshi came back with Hong Yi and Laning. Knowing that Night Sorrow was at the lake, the 3 of them flew to the lake and landed on Night Sorrow's small boat. How is it? Is everything going well in 7 Night City? Night Sorrow, who was lying on the wooden boat, asked after moving his body. Everything is going well. I even went to Big Dipper City to see Beixing. The situation in Big Dipper City is very stable now. Beixing told me that the king under the sovereign's command is currently searching the Yanmen Sec's area and Biji City's area, Xueshi said. If they can't see me, they can only catch me blindly. I should show my face again, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. Show your face for what? Isn't it very stable now? Xueshi looked at Night Sorrow and said. You don't have to worry about it. I'll go to Tiannan Dynasty and kill them. Let them go to Tiannan Dynasty to play. It should be interesting this way, Night Sorrow said. But it's dangerous. Xueshi was a little worried. It's okay to be careful. Night Sorrow nodded at Xueshi. He knew that Xueshi was worried about him. Night Sorrow, take us there. We can fight, Laning looked at Night Sorrow and said. That's right. We are lacking in many areas, but fighting is not a problem. Red nodded. Okay, let's go. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he leaped into the air. His arm released energy to wrap around the boat and the few of them, bringing them back to the shore. Then, he took the teleportation array and left. Night Sorrow put on his mask and brought Red and Laning to Tiannan Dynasty's area. He took out a map and drew the area to attack. Night Sorrow knew about Tiannan Dynasty. The only people who could threaten him now were Shang Tianfeng and Yuan Xianba. Night Sorrow was not afraid. If he teamed up with Red and Laning, Yuan Xianba would not be a threat. Red and Laning did not ask about Night Sorrow's plan. They just followed Night Sorrow to fight. Chapter 1081. You two put on a veil and disguise yourselves. That way, there won't be any trouble in the future, Night Sorrow said to Hong Yi and Laning. Night Sorrow wasn't worried about Hong Yi and Laning being exposed. He was worried that it would be inconvenient for them to travel the world in the future. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Hong Yi and Lanning did as they were told. After coming to the Nine-Domain world, Hong Yi and Lanning had a sense of belonging to the Nine-Domain world. They didn't hate Night Sorrow, only respect. Therefore, Night Sorrow's opinion wouldn't be discounted. After entering the Tian Nan Dynasty's city, Night Sorrow asked Hong Yi to guard the teleportation circle while he and Lanning started killing. Night Sorrow was already very fast when he was alone. Now that he had Lanning with him, his efficiency was greatly increased. A city lord's mansion was taken down in an instant. It couldn't be called a battle. It was a one-sided massacre. After one city, it was time for the next. Night Sorrow brought Hong Yi and Lanning to the Tian Nan Dynasty's city and started slaughtering. After half a day, Night Sorrow had earned a lot and left the Tian Nan Dynasty's territory with the two girls. This time, Night Sorrow didn't leave behind any notes or clues for Shang Tianfeng. Hong Yi and Lanning were ruthless. They killed anyone they saw. Although there weren't any clues, everyone guessed that it was Night Sorrow's doing. Tian Nan Dynasty had been stable for many years. Only after Night Sorrow's appearance did the Tian Nan Dynasty's cities get attacked repeatedly. In addition, their attacking style was the same as Night Sorrow's, which was attacking the city lord's mansion and robbing resources. They didn't kill innocent people. When Night Sorrow was drinking tea in the city in the sky, Shang Tianfeng smashed the table in the Tian Nan Palace into pieces. Investigate. Find out where he is. This emperor will personally kill him. Shang Tianfeng flew into a rage. In the Xian celestial realm, there were many top forces. None of the leaders, the king, had his face trampled under the holy king's shoe like him. After hearing Shang Tianfeng's words, all the leaders in the hall bowed. No one could provoke Shang Tianfeng's anger right now. Night Sorrow, what other enemies do you have? Let's continue doing this. It's too exciting. Lanning looked at Night Sorrow and said. Hee, I have too many enemies. I can only use this one for the time being. Night Sorrow said. He didn't expect Lanning to be so aggressive. Then it's a deal. When you want to move, you have to call us. Lanning said. All right, I'll definitely bring you along when I can. Night Sorrow nodded. Once the Tian Nan Dynasty was in trouble, the subordinates of the Tsangyin monarch, Moon monarch, and Yuanling monarch all rushed to the Tian Nan Dynasty to find Night Sorrow. As long as there was a glimmer of hope, they wouldn't let it go. Finding Night Sorrow was a great achievement for them. If they could get the soul cultivation liquid and give it to the monarch, they would definitely be valued by the monarch. Their future development would be much easier. With the monarch's protection, who wouldn't give face? In the Big Dipper city, Beijing, who was playing chess with the Big Dipper king, shook his head after hearing the news. Father, are these people stupid or what? Why are they being led around by Night Sorrow like dogs? Some things are blinded by the situation. They know that there's not much hope, but they're still unwilling to give up. Humans die for wealth and birds die for food. The Big Dipper king also shook his head. However, Night Sorrow is really brave. He dares to force himself in the limelight. His style is already clear. In the future, no one will dare to go against him easily. If they really want to take revenge, it'll be endless. Who wouldn't have a headache? Shang Tianfeng is probably going crazy now. Beixing said with a smile. Personality. Everyone's personality is different. This is Night Sorrow's personality. He doesn't provoke others, but if anyone bullies him, he'll fight to the end. I can only say that Shang Tianfeng was blind to provoke someone he shouldn't have. Have you guys met recently? The Big Dipper king asked with a smile. He's been busy recently, so he hasn't taken the initiative to look for me. However, someone close to him came and said that he needs some resources. Beixing poured a cup of tea for the Big Dipper king. He needs resources. What kind of resources does he need? The Big Dipper king asked, somewhat surprised. Father, you might not know, but a calamity has appeared in the 9 regions world. He's leading people to deal with it. He sent someone to deliver Holy Spirit stones and asked me to help him collect some materials, Bei Xing said. He's still growing. It's important to help him when he's in need. You can use the Big Dipper city's resources. Just help him as you see fit. I have no objections. The Big Dipper King expressed his thoughts. Father, he's not someone who takes advantage of others. The resources he needs are all in Holy Spirit stones. This guy's foundation of resources is very thick. Bei Xing said with a smile. That's true. He's a Saint King grade alchemist and artifact refiner. He has the ability to accumulate resources. The Big Dipper King nodded while stroking his beard. After Night Sorrow rested in Sky City, he asked Xuexi to go to Big Dipper City to find Bei Xing and check out the situation outside. He wasn't alone, so he naturally couldn't ignore the outside world. If he didn't understand the situation, a single misdecision would cause the 9 regions world to suffer heavy losses. Another purpose was to collect resources and materials. The calamity of the 9 regions world hadn't passed yet, so he still needed to stock up on poisons. Seeing Xuexi, Bei Xing asked about Night Sorrow's situation. Don't worry. Those trash from Tian-Nan dynasty can't do anything to Night Sorrow. They can only passively take a beating, Xuexi said. Xuexi said. There were some things that everyone had a tacit understanding of. Yishang also didn't hide his own matters from Bei Xing, huh? Well done. Bei Xing clapped his hands and said. After talking with Bei Xing for a while, Xuexi went to rest in the mansion behind the Heavenly Master Pavilion while waiting for Bei Xing to collect resources. She had already given the Saint Spirit stones to Bei Xing. Bei Xing was also very helpful. In half a day, he gave the resources to Xuexi. They were the 7 extremes grass that Night Sorrow had used before. They could be used to refine the 7 extremes poison smoke. After expressing her gratitude to Bei Xing, Xuexi planned to leave. Tell Night Sorrow not to worry. If there's an emergency here, I'll go find him. Bei Xing said to Xuexi. New L chapter Q plus previous. Xuexi cupped her hands to Bei Xing and left. She knew that Bei Xing and Night Sorrow were true friends. To put it bluntly, they were brothers. After getting the 7 extremes grass, Night Sorrow was very satisfied. The 7 extremes poison smoke was a very strong poison. If he used it, he could fight together with Hong Yi and Laning. They could even kill a mid-king. Although he hadn't refined the 7 extremes poison smoke before, Night Sorrow wanted to try. The 7 extremes poison smoke was a high-grade Holy King poison. He could refine it. Last time, Elder Xiang was worried. After a few days and one failure, Night Sorrow refined more than 20 bottles of the 7 extremes poison smoke. After refining the 7 extremes poison smoke, Night Sorrow thought for a while and decided to attack the evil spirit world again. With this idea, Night Sorrow called for Hong Yi and Laning. However, Wu Lingfei also came. Chapter 1082. Night Sorrow did not hide it from anyone and told them his thoughts. He wanted to kill the 3 commanders with intermediate king cultivation who were guarding the evil spirit king. One of them can't do it. I know his cultivation level. He's a 5-star king, and his combat power is very strong. We can try the other 2, Red Coat said. If we can get rid of one, then let's go. Night Sorrow exhaled and said. Night Sorrow now understood some of the situation. The core of the evil spirit world's life source was the evil spirit king and the 9 commander king level. If he got rid of the 9 commander king level, then the evil spirit world's life source would be reduced by 50%, and the impact on the 9 domain world would be reduced by 50%. It was the same for destroying the evil spirit king. Night Sorrow did not want to destroy the evil spirit king. Without strength, there would be no chance. However, he could still try to kill the relatively weak commanders among the intermediate king level. I'll go too. Wu Lingfei said. Aunt Fei, it's more dangerous, Night Sorrow said. He really did not want to bring Wu Lingfei along. I'll enter your space treasure. I haven't seen the Battle of the King level, so I want to see it, Wu Lingfei said. Okay, let's go together. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and felt that there was no problem, so he nodded and agreed. After putting Wu Lingfei into the dragon cauldron, Night Sorrow set off with Red Coat and Laning. He did not put Red Coat and Laning into the dragon cauldron because Red Coat and Laning were king level, and Laning was a 2-star king. Both of them were fast enough, so they did not need Night Sorrow to bring them along. In addition, Night Sorrow also needed them to lead the way. Teleporting to Haotian Mountain under Haotian City, Night Sorrow tore through space and brought Red Coat and Laning into the evil spirit world. Then, they flew under Red Coat's lead. In terms of cultivation, Laning was higher than Red Coat, but in terms of intelligence, Red Coat was stronger, so Red Coat was the one leading the way. On the way, Night Sorrow explained his strategy. If they wanted to fight against the strong, then the strategy would be very important. First, poison him. Then, use a violent attack to destabilize his mind. Then, use a soul attack. Very good. That way, our chances of winning will be much higher, Hong Yi said. We have to have a good chance of winning. Otherwise, we'll just throw our lives away, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Night Sorrow, how can you still smile at this moment? How big of a crisis is this? If we don't deal with the evil spirit king, our 9-domain world won't be able to pass this tribulation. Laning looked at Night Sorrow and said. She felt that Night Sorrow was too arrogant. Can't pass? As long as the evil spirit world can't break through the 9-domain world, I'm not afraid. I'll just suppress them, Night Sorrow said. The evil spirit abyss is the source of the evil spirit world. If the evil spirit king cultivates there, his cultivation will increase. You are busy every day. When will you be a match for him? Laning said. Hee hee. There are some things that you don't know. This is not my true body. My true body is also cultivating. It is cultivating in the will of heaven and earth cave of the 9 firmament world group. My cultivation and realm increase is not slow either. Night Sorrow smiled at Laning. That's not right. Isn't that your clone in the heavens sealing Great Hall? Hong Yi asked. Above, yes, I cultivate a special doppelganger technique. I've cultivated 2 doppelgangers, Yi Shan explained. He also explained the situation of his doppelganger in the heaven-sealing Great Hall. After listening to Night Sorrow's explanation, Hong Yi and Laning both had an idea. Laning, who was more impatient, said, Night Sorrow, can we cultivate clones? After this war, I'll think of a way for you. Yi Shang said. He would not agree with Hong Yi and Laning to cultivate doppelgangers now. Cultivating doppelgangers would damage their souls. If their souls were damaged, it would affect their battle prowess. Now was a critical time. Okay, then we'll count on you. Anyway, we are strong. We are the battle power of the 9-domain world and also your fighters. Lan Ying's words were very straightforward. As long as you don't hurt the 9-domain world, I will do whatever I can for you. Night Sorrow expressed his attitude. Hong Yi and Laning nodded. Both of them had walked around the 9-domain world. They had some understanding of Night Sorrow's character and temperament. They knew that Night Sorrow was a man of his words. The World Master was the core of a world. His words were the law. It was impossible for him to go back on his words. The evil spirit world was about the same size as the 9-domain world. If they were to travel by scouting, it would be very slow. Now that Night Sorrow and the other 2 were traveling at full speed, it would not take them too long to travel millions of miles. After 7 days, the 3 of them arrived at the territory of the intermediate king, Dao Yuan. When they arrived at their destination, Night Sorrow and the other 2 were very cautious. Night Sorrow also gave the antidote for the 7 absolute poison smoke to Hong Yi and Laning, telling them to take the antidote if they saw Dao Yuan. Night Sorrow did not think that he would be lucky. He was a half-step king. No matter how strong his battle power was, he could not be compared to an intermediate king. The same went for Hong Yi and Lan Ning. Therefore, if they were to fight, they would use poison and fight to the death. Hong Yi and Lan Ning only knew the approximate area where Dao Yuan was. They still had to scout. They were about to fight an intermediate king. Knight Sorrow was a little nervous, but he was more excited. Knight Sorrow would gain a lot of benefits by killing a king. When the life of the evil spirit world died, their soul power would disperse. However, a part of it would become nutrients and be absorbed by the one who killed it. It would become the source of support. During the previous battle, Knight Sorrow realized that his soul power had increased. Although it was his clone that absorbed it, Knight Sorrow knew that his original body would also benefit. Regardless of whether a cultivator was a human or a shifter, once a cultivator cultivated a clone technique, the original body would always be the core. Half a day later, Lan Ning waved her arm at Knight Sorrow. She had found Dao Yuan. At this time, Knight Sorrow also found the target in the red battle suit. It was one of the 3 intermediate king commanders in the evil spirit world, Dao Yuan. Knight Sorrow had eaten the antidote for the 7 deadly poison smoke. Hong Yi and Lan Ning had also eaten it. Although they did not say anything nervous, they were still worried about Dao Yuan. Knight Sorrow and the other 2 discovered Dao Yuan. Dao Yuan also discovered the 3 of them and rushed toward them. Sensing Dao Yuan rushing toward them, Knight Sorrow reminded Hong Yi and Lan Ning to use their energy to protect themselves. Then, he crushed 2 bottles of 7 deadly poison smoke. When the 7 deadly poison smoke was condensed, it was light blue. However, once it was dispersed, it was colorless and odorless. Knight Sorrow, Hong Yi, and Lan Ying's energy shields had a special energy that blocked the colorless 7 deadly poison smoke. Dao Yuan arrived in front of the 3 of them. Hong Yi, Lan Ning, you too be asterisk cheese. You're not in your own territory but with the other races. Aren't you afraid that the evil spirit king will be angry and kill you? At this time, Dao Yuan naturally understood that Hong Yi and Lan Ning had betrayed him. You're the B asterisk cheese. What right do you have to scold us? Hong Yi was angry. In war, the winner becomes the king and the loser becomes a thief. So, there's no point in you spouting vulgarities. It only shows that you have no manners, Knight Sorrow said coldly. Trash with a half-step king cultivation base. Go and die. I'll kill you later. Dao Yuan glanced at Knight Sorrow. He did not care about Knight Sorrow at all. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.